Come on now, it's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Get your shoes and socks on, kids. It's going down. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of pumped after seeing that straight ahead footage. Might have to get cracking on this straight ahead reunion. Hey, we got Biohazard back together. Stranger things have happened. That's one of my superpowers. Is getting bands to reunite. Yeah. Yep. What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's well. I hope things are well in your world. I hope, if anything, I just hope that tuning into the show gives you a momentary moment of enjoyment. That would make me happy. Even if it's just for 2 hours. The tie that binds us together. Music. That said, good to see everybody. What's up? What's up, Mimi? Gajowski, Paul Stone. Yo, Spikey, what's up? All right. Hey, Mike Bromberg. What do you say, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Astoria Lou. Yeah, they're coming out of the woodwork for this one, huh? What's up, Lenny? Yorkville represent, Lenny. Lori Dawn out in the Cape. So good. Speaking of the Cape, I would like to bring on my co-host for today, who happens to be right across the street, Howie Abrams.
What does that have to do with the Cape?
I don't know. Oh, you wear a cape?
Sometimes. I play a superhero on TV.
That's right. What does it have to do with the cape? Well, you're a superhero. You're
gotta wear a cape.
Yeah, you gotta wear a cape.
Gotta wear a cape.
How you doing, bro?
Doing good. I'm sure it's very similar for you. How many yards apart do you think we are? Like, how many yards is a city block?
We're probably 200 yards apart.
Yeah, maybe like 250.
Two football fields.
Yeah, it's about right.
But like my world down here and your world up there, it's like different galaxies.
Well, I'm closer to Barney Greengrass.
Right. I'm closer to Riverside Park.
Yeah, which is nice. And I guess, I'm closer to Central Park, but you're not so far either.
Right.
So,
that said,
I did not, Lenny. Lenny is asking if I went to Zabar's for breakfast. I did not. It's too expensive.
Zabar's is expensive, man.
Yeah, Zabar's is expensive, Barney Greengrass. But, once a month you do a little Jewish treat.
But Zabar's, like, once in a while we'll go in there and we'll come out and we go, what the fuck? $100 for 2 sandwiches?
All I got was some fucking blintzes.
All I got was some rugula. What the fuck? Hey, the rugula's to die for, To
die for. And so is the babka.
It is. It's unbelievable. The coffee's good, too.
They do have good locks.
Anyway.
While we're busy shitting on Zabar, we're complimenting everything they sell.
That place sucks. Yo,
I love that place.
That place sucks. Yo, the rugula's to die for.
Best.
It's like fuck that drug dealer, but his drugs are really good.
He's got some great heroin.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but thanks for this.
Hey, Gajewski says, "Hey, I can't wait for heavy healing." Before we get into it, tell us about your upcoming film, Heavy Healing. What's the concept and what's going on with it?
Yeah, so I am directing and co-producing a documentary called Heavy Healing. It was inspired by a friend of mine who worked in the music business, is a big music fan as well, named Seth Abrams, no relation whatsoever. And he was, like a marathon runner and in great shape and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, he wound up having an aortic aneurysm. And so they corrected it. He was in the hospital for a few weeks. And then the day he was coming home from the hospital, he had 2 strokes. And so he is partially paralyzed still, was in the hospital for 3 months after that, told he would never walk again, told he would never swallow again, all these things. And so when when he was first able to speak again, he said, "You can't bring me down," the Suicidal Tendencies lyric. Yeah. And was his right, and that was his rallying cry to go to PT, to do everything recovery. And basically, he came to me about doing this as a book. And I said, I don't think this is a book. I think this is a doc, because I think people telling their story on camera's got a lot of power to it.
Sure.
And so we are doing a film about people recovering from anything and everything, using aggressive music to help heal. And we have, sadly and luckily, we have the final ever Eddie Leeway interview. And related to Tommy, we have extensive footage with Alexa, where we did 2 interviews with her, because the first interview we did was about her being in that fire. And then the second interview was, after she told us she had cancer. But we have a lot of, New York hardcore luminaries, metal people, fans.
Is Alago in it?
Alago's in it, talking about AIDS and using music to heal. And, and he's a miracle, in and of himself. I mean, the fact that he's around at all during that time when everyone around him was dying of AIDS, it's crazy. And so, we are currently editing the movie. We'll have it done by September. And, there's a trailer. If you look for Heavy Healing on YouTube, there's a trailer. We have a GoFundMe going that's helping us out a lot to, pay for some sort of tech expenses that we don't have to go out of pocket for. But I'm doing it with Seth and also our friend Jamie York, that a lot of you know, photographer on the scene. So he's filmed everything and he's editing. And, really looking forward to people seeing it.
Good. That said, let's bring on Steven Messina, the Hardcore Shutterbug.
What's
How you
up?
doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good.
What's going on? You have a good time last night?
I had a great time last night in the island of Staten.
Yeah, you know what last night was, Howie?
Yeah. The big Staten Island extravaganza.
Oh
yeah. It was this last night.
Yeah.
There you go.
By the way, have either of you seen Stigma's country thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we saw it.
Oh yeah.
It's so fucking good.
It's good.
Like, it was the most fun I've had at any show in the longest time, because it was just about the fucking joy of playing music, and there was no pretense. It was incredible.
That was a lot of fun.
You know what he did that I think I was telling my dad about it, that at the end, and here's another picture of Stigma from last night. At the end of like the country thing, he did this great thing. It was like a Wayne Newton or a Frank Sinatra thing, where he goes in the crowd with the mic, and he's kind of like working the crowd. He's like walking through the crowd, like, hey, Johnny C, what's happening? How are you? How's the wife and kids?
Yeah.
Hey, Paula, love what you're wearing. It was like, it was really. And it was just, he did it for like, as the band was like vamping behind him. It was really great.
It really was fun. And it didn't, like, it's so Stigma that like, it never comes across as fake. Like he really just, he was so, I mean, he's getting a bunch of hardcore people to sing along with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is pretty hysterical.
Yeah. What style of country? I say it's like outlaw stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of covers. So it's a bunch of covers, and then there's some original songs, about Paulie the Bulldog and things like that. But it's a bunch of covers. And the thing is that he used live. He used Gogo Bordello's band essentially, and the band is so good. So they were super tight, and like
a couple of U.S. bombs in there too.
Yeah, that's right. And then, like super pro. And like, just, I saw the second show and it was spectacular.
I got to say about last night, that's AJ right there. It was great.
Yeah.
We had a killer band last night with AJ and Luke and Mike Dijon.
There's Mark from Generation in the background.
Yeah, there's Mark from Generation Records lurking in the background. Being that's the thing. We you have punishers and you have lurkers. That's the new ID song. We have Punisher, and now we have the Lurker.
Yeah,
they just
avoid the Punishers.
Yeah, avoid the Punishers, but beware of the Lurkers too, because.
By the way, one thing I just want to say, because I saw a couple of comments about it, is people are saying show the tattoo, and so what that's about is I went over to Stephen Huey's spot Fly Right Tattoo. And I even wrote like, is it real? And he gave me a fake, not real, fake heavy healing tattoo that we're using as a graphic in the movie. So I don't know if you could see this, but that's...
it's not. I thought there it is. Real.
Yeah, it's not real.
Okay.
So you'll see it in the film. It's a graphic we're using. Instead of using like a font for the name of the movie, we're using people, the camera zooms in, Steve Huey pulls out, and you see my arm as if he just tattooed heavy healing on me. So I wish it was real, but it is not.
Got it.
Just to correct that, because about 3 people asked that.
You know who played last night? It was really great. Was The Blame.
Yes.
And The Blame, fronted by Phil Cadaver, and that's Les Paul Rapid playing guitar, and they were great. And Phil Cadaver and Les Paul, they used to be in Rapid Deployment back then. And they were an old A7 band. These guys I've known really since I started hanging out, around the New York hardcore scene in 1982, 83. These guys were around, and Phil Cadaver does sound at Pugs, and they played last night, and they were fucking great.
Awesome.
Yeah, Streets of New York is a great song, and it's what the end credits in the New York Hardcore Chronicles film, the end credits. And who else? What do we got also? Yeah. Oh, yeah, here's a good one. I like this one because we played. That was fun, and I like the look on our guitar players, on Will's face in this one. So
looks like you smelled something.
Yeah. So yeah, we like playing with Will. So yeah, ID played. It was a good night. It was a great night, and Steven, you guys played, right?
Yes, we did.
And there's no shots of you.
That's what happens when the photographer's on stage. It's usually a problem.
Yeah. So here's the best you get right there.
There you go. There we are.
Yeah.
There we are.
It looks like you're a biker gang or something. Is it an outdoor venue? Yes.
Yeah.
There's a backyard, and we played outdoors in the backyard. Yeah, there's a new guitar player in ID. It's been for a while now. Will Romeo's been playing with us for a while, Paul.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's
a beast. He really is. Rapid Deployment's actually on the plaque, aren't they? On the A7 plaque?
Yeah. Oh, one last picture from last night. You get a kick out of this one. This band that opened up the festivities, this is Idiot Box. Get a load of these guys. They were, and Steven, right? What are the names of some of their songs?
Oh, they had a song called Ape City about the Planet of the Apes. And they had a song about Monster Zero, who was one of Godzilla's arch enemies.
Right.
I liked him immediately. In fact, they actually a couple of skaters that skate with Tristan from Incendiary Device.
Yeah, these are Tristan skate dudes from Staten Island. From Long Island.
Yeah,
and, they were good. They were funny.
They were fun. They really. I thought everybody was fun yesterday. There was another band called Mutant, which very kind of almost reminded me of the Non-Residents a little bit, like real thrashy, really good. It was. I thought all the bands. There they are. There's Mutant.
Yeah. Mutant.
And
they were good. They were good.
It was a great time. You know what? It's great to see Johnny Eggs and Paul Bearer and everybody. It was a really fun turnout. It was a really fun turnout.
'Twas good.
So.
All right. There you go. Hey, one last shot. Shot. and for those we're doing a series now. Drummer Mike's drum cam photo.
Yeah.
I tell you, for those of you who don't know, drummer Mike Flattery, who plays drums in Incendiary Device, if there's one picture that sums up this guy as a bandmate, it would be this picture right here.
There he is.
I mean, this guy's a real pleasure. to have as a bandmate. He is great.
Oh, he truly is. He just, nobody loves his instrument. He loves to play. He loves the music, and he's so good. He's such a good drummer.
Yeah, I like playing.
He really is. You have a monstrous engine in your band, is what you have.
He's great
because he's a beast.
We have a lot of fun together, me and him.
Yeah.
So
he really is.
That said, thanks, Stephen.
Thank you. And I just want to wish my brother a happy 60th birthday. I'm going upstairs right now to mix with the family. So I will catch up with you guys in a little bit.
Enjoy.
Eddie's. All right. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, Mad Vintage, Women of the Pit, Candle Witch Co., and 126 Hardcore Clothing. They're a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your game at www.126clothing.com. While we're at it, let's do another one. The Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. Yeehaw. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as the style then for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Goddamn electric. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Gregory Ray, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information on online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram page, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. That said, let's clear the deck and let's bring our guest on.
I'm psyched up.
I'm psyched. You're psyched. Here we go. Here we go. Is that you or me? Is that siren coming my way?
Let's see. Hold on. It's
That's you coming my way.
No, it's going your way. Yes, it just passed my house.
That said, today's guest is a vocalist and drummer hailing from New York City. He's known for his work with the bands NYC Mayhem, Youth of Today, and the pioneering and influential straight edge band Straight Ahead. Please welcome, coming at us from upstate New York, Mr. Thomas Carroll. Hey, man.
How's everybody feeling? All right?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Can you hear the crowd cheering?
Yeah. There's always cheering in my head, you know?
All of us.
How's things upstate,
Keeps
Tommy?
me going. Good.
You like it up there, nice and calm?
At this age, you know, city guy my whole life, but it was, you know, time to make a move, you know. I couldn't keep up anymore.
Yeah. We're trying.
A little slower, you know, like coming down, you know, like anything else, going to a hardcore show once in a while, going to the city once in a while, but ultimately, you know,
So
I like a quiet life.
Let's bounce the ball back and forth, and we'll
Yeah,
get on the
sure.
horse.
I mean,
Let's get on the horse and see where it leads us.
Yeah.
How did you come up? Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music come into your life?
Yeah, I always listen to music. Actually, my father's from Harlem, and he was in a doo-wop band, and he actually played the Apollo Theater. He was like one of the first white guys to do on amateur night, and Buddy Holly played there. But my father has a very good voice, and my father was born in Harlem Hospital, and grew up there with his brothers and stuff. So there was, you know, he played the saxophone as well. So there was always music. There was always music going in the house. You know, we grew up, you know, in uptown Manhattan, the bars and stuff. And music. My sister actually seen Led Zeppelin their last show at Madison Square Garden, and that's how it started. You know, she was into all those bands: Sabbath, Queen, Bad Company, Led Zeppelin. So, you know, and it was just, I mean, the music was always helpful and is an inspiration, especially for anybody. But, you know, and it's it just was there. There was just something in me. She actually bought me a drum set as a young, 6, 7 years old.
Did you grew up in the Yorkville area of Manhattan?
Yes, yeah. I grew up on 92nd between First and Second, the tenement there, and then we had a fire.
Yorkville.
Yeah, and then we moved into the projects across the street when I was about 9 years old, and I spent most of it. That's where I grew up. And,
How long do you know Lenny Bednarz?
Well, Lenny, I knew his father because when we bought the van off, Straighthead bought the van off Agnostic Front. The father worked on the van. He was a mechanic, and rest his soul. But there's not a gigantic age gap between me and him. But when you're a teenager, like he must have been, 10 years on him, maybe? No, 6 or 7. But, when you see people when you're like 14, they're 17, and now you meet today, like it's not as big as a gap. Back then, it seemed like, they were adults or whatever. The age gap seemed a lot bigger. But, no, I didn't really, I knew his dad because his dad was a friend of my father's. And so that's, what else you got?
Yeah, I didn't know that you guys went that far back. But
we grew up in the same projects. Yeah, so right over.
So you grew up in an apartment, though. How do you get drums?
So in the projects, you got drug dens and prostitution places. So I don't think anybody minded that was playing. There was a couple complaints or whatever. But when I got home after school, I would play, from like 3 to 5, and that was it. So how that started is I got a job at 14. I started a band in my neighborhood, a couple of guys, and so I'm the only one that had a job. I got working papers at 14. I worked at the Fire Boathouse up on by the FDR Drive, right on the water there. And by
I remember that place.
So, I remember I got, I think minimum wage back then had to be 1983, 82, 83, and so it was like $3.35 an hour. So I didn't, that whole time I worked, I brought my lunch. I saved everything. And at the end of that summer, I went down to Sam Ash and bought a Tama Swing Star set.
Wow.
And, just started banging the shit out of it, So my, parents tolerated it. I guess he's doing something, and so, it just took off from there. Like I played with them, and
what? Let me ask you, what was the first music that you felt was your music that spoke to you?
Metal, Sabbath. It was a progression. I think everybody's metal progression was from there. Like I always knew, like growing up, like there was the Sex Pistols and Circle Jerks at Don Kirshner's rock concert, right? They played. So I was always familiar with a lot of different, genres of music and different things. But my, from the progression of Led Zeppelin and that kind of thing into Sabbath, into Judas Priest, which was around the same time, and then Iron Maiden with, Killers is one thing, but I don't know, to me, I like Diano, but Number of the Beast was just, so that was cliche game changer, but, that was. It still gives me goosebumps. I remember the first time I got that record and I put it on the turntable. It was like, that's what. That Iron Maiden Number of the Beast, that's what made me, I want to play music,
What I feel like, especially with that era, right? So the Priest Maiden thing, right? Like, I feel like we were of an age when we got those records that were like, that's the band I would start. Like, that's the band I want to be in. Like,
I always liked the melody. I like the hard driving stuff, but his galloping beat, it was just different. The melody, I always like, even Straight Ahead had a lot of melodic stuff into it. There's so much heavy, yes, but something a little different. Maiden was different, they had their, Priest, I like that driving heavy metal, but it was just something about it. I don't know. I just took to it, and it took off from there. And then, do you want me to go on how I started New York City Mayhem, or?
Well, we're gonna get there because I still want to talk.
I'm jumping the gun. You guys.
Because we're still.
I don't know.
Hey, what do you got? What do you got?
I get a little nervous energy.
Play the catch. You gotta play the catch.
I get a little I keep going. You gotta, tell me to shut up.
We'll run this shit, okay? We'll run this shit. And
fair enough.
Let me ask you this, Howie. I know you're part of this. Is that early metal scene, the tape trading kind of circuit? Yeah, I mean, both you guys really got involved with that really early on, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask you, Tommy, because of Gordon, right? Because he was into it too, and he was trading like videotapes as well. So I even know that I traded tapes with him of like NYC Mayhem stuff and like the video from like that night show you guys did at CBGB.
Yeah.
Like, and that went everywhere. But I know you were like one of the people who had the first Metallica demo, and then the Death demo, and the real like serious underground.
Me and Gordon became friends with Chuck. You know, we our phone bills must have been through the roof. I remember my sister used to use a phone. She's like, "What are you calling?" And the singer Hyrax and Mike Rubenstein from that put out in the Warzone. You know, that whole trade-trading scene, making phone calls. You had to use the phone. My phone bills were a fortune. My sister was like, "You got to pay me for these phone calls." You know, but that whole footwork and everything else was like it just was so exciting. You know, meeting people and having to do all the footwork. I mean, things like it's easier now, but I wouldn't know, like, you know, growing up in this social media time. I mean, it's convenient and everything else, but the work you put in, like, used to tape over like my sister's old cassettes to send out demos. You know, we sent them out to all these like metal things when we did that first rehearsal tape, which was just like completely, I think the guy from Metal Force or whatever was like, it sounds like a drill sergeant on speed. You know, but we just wanted to get it out there and go into the shows. And then we gave out flyers at the Motorhead, Exciter, Merciful Fate at Beacon Theater. We put all these songs on here. Not one song was written. We had good intentions. This is our new demo. Not one song written.
I love that though. Like, hey sis, you're not listening to this anymore, right?
You put the tape over the broken tape.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Well, but you guys were also, it's funny, like, because this is, we're fast forwarding a little bit in terms of when you met Craig, right? So like, and we'll go back to like you meeting Gordon, because I want to talk about that too. But like the Crab Society stuff, right? So now there comes a time when the Maiden and Priest fans like got exposed to the faster, heavier stuff, right? So you get into like Motorhead and Venom and like, you know, things like that. And that becomes the thing, like faster,
like the Venom, the speed, and the grunginess, you know, and even a little more than Motorhead, a little more like, you know, dirtier than Motorhead.
Right, dirtier than Motorhead. But like, so Crab Society at one point, I don't remember if it was Crab Society or Crab Society North, where the drums were a cassette case. Right. So basically there was no actual instrument. It was just like Greg or Danny being like on a fucking,
just rolling a snare. I mean, it did that Mayhem, same thing. You want to get how fast you're gonna get, you only go so fast, and then it turned to
right. And were you conscious of cheating?
Yeah, everybody was a 2-for-1. I did the 2-for-1. And when there's no dunka, you know, when I played drums, it was all that, the whole, you know, of everything, sort of like a Gene Krupa, you know, the whole using the toms and incorporating everything, like the hell with it. When you're young, you don't realize, people are like, oh, that's ridiculous. And when I know people made comments, but you know, just whatever you want to do. That's the whole thing about music. For you never know what you're going to stumble upon. Just let it go.
Who were your early drum influences when you bought that drum kit?
Oh, obviously John Bonham. But in terms of like playing, like Keith Moon always did that, right? I always was more like
he was busy, right?
Staying busy. And that's what I'm saying. Like his fills and everything, he was all over the place. But he did have a method to it, right? Because he could do it all the time. But that Keith Moon too, the Who was influence on that. Like actually, like. Almost like, I guess why I became the singer, like singing with the drums, kind of like, you know, like just like making it more than just, you know, a backing instrument, like a drive, just actually just all over the place with it and just expressing yourself, you know, something like that, I guess, you know.
It's like a guitar player as a drummer.
Yes, basically, yeah. I think Pete Townsend said that about Keith Moon and stuff, but yeah, I just, you know, it just came in, and not really knowing how to play the drums, just going in there and like, you know, just doing whatever you do, fill it in, make it sound good. The only reason I did all the fills is because I couldn't keep a beat. And then you stumble, so it's okay.
So now we could, you know, you meet Gordon Ansis, who also kind of lives near your neighborhood.
Lou asked, how did you meet Gordon? How did you meet
Right.
Gordon, Ann?
Yeah.
Okay, so I went to Wagner Junior High School.
I went to Wagner also, bro.
Oh, wow. Yeah, cool.
I went to Wagner.
So, yeah, we went there. So I bought a drum set that summer. So I used to wear the denim jackets and, with the Maiden and everything else. So I became friends with the guy, Lance, and big, tall kid. He was the first singer. So he introduced me to Gordon and Tony Shrimkin. And we met and we went to see Spinal Tap. Yeah, we hung out and we went to see Spinal Tap, and we didn't get it. That's a great movie, but at the time, I guess we were all serious. We were bad. What's this? No one realized how funny this movie was, right? But so we, I tried out. It was terrible on the drums, but they needed a drummer, and we just started rehearsing, and we just wanted to play. And when you're that young and stuff, you didn't really need to, you learn together. And Gordon took lessons. Gordon was a pretty good guitar player, and Tony was a good bass player. And we just started rehearsing, and it just took off from there. And then Lance, his mother didn't want him playing in the band, so we didn't have a singer. So I just took over the vocals, and we just started making noise. And a few months later, it started to sound like something.
Was there any sort of template? Because at the time, I can't think of another band that
Like,
had
what were you trying to be?
a drummer that was singing.
Well, Howie, you're a big DRI fan, so DRI was fast. And DRI is like one of the first, probably the first hardcore band, that 22, 24 song 7-inch, that had a big influence, because when you're playing at that speed, like I said before, you don't really hear so many mistakes. To keep them to basic, believe it or not, like keeping just a basic drive, like doom, doom, doom. It takes time and all through it, and we wanted to make everything as fast as possible, and just when it's like blinding speed, you don't really hear it. It's just doom. Oh man, this guy, So I came from there, and then the energy you have, yeah. But
it's incredible.
I think
how young
the
you guys look.
Yeah.
You guys are, how old are you guys? 15, 16?
15, I guess I would say me and Greg are only like 2 weeks apart on birthday. Gordon might be 1 year older. So 16, 15, and 15.
Yeah.
So, we're both born. I think Greg's born June 16th. I was June 2nd of 69. And Gordon might be 1 year older than us.
Yeah, Lenny says Giant Studios rehearsals. That looks
great place.
Yeah.
Oh, the microphones, man.
Yeah.
They smelled like something.
Smelled great.
Yeah.
The cracked cymbals, drums, but we didn't care. Rehearsing out, be like, oh. But back then, we just wanted to make noise. Probably developed our sound too,
Yeah, and it was like $6 an hour.
Shitty band and shitty equipment.
You invite all your friends and you fucking hang out.
Yeah.
But then every band
came
you knew was in the next room.
Yeah.
Like every other room was the band you were going to play with that next Sunday.
It smelled like BO and like 10 pounds of old saliva, right?
And this kid still.
And it was hot as hell, and people just sitting there without a care in the world, just pouring.
And this
sweat.
kid still plays his bass. This kid still plays his bass.
Old Red, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red.
Yeah.
That's right.
How skinny he is. Wow.
Look how skinny he is, but look how big his hands are.
Yeah.
His fingers are long.
Yeah. It's
That's
Danny Lopez as well, right? It's born to play bass.
100%. He does have the Danny Loker hand.
Yeah. I was like these stubby little fingers. A drummer was my only outlet. I wanted to be a guitar player, but these things ain't just going stretching out.
Well, Drew, like everything goes back to Danny Loker. So even Tommy just mentioned him in terms of Craig's fingers, right? So it's like the connection with so many of us at that time, especially when like the metal kids were starting to really get into hardcore and go to like the matinees and things. So I was going with Danny and a couple of friends from my school, and we all lived kind of local. And then, of course, Danny grew up with Craig and Craig's brother, Scott. Yes. And then we would go down to a CB show and we'd get introduced to Tommy and then, or whoever else. So now We know Pete and Lou because they were the crowd, right? So if you watch like
we always bumped into each other, Slayer shows, everything,
everything.
Always like, skipping school and going to like It's Only Rock and Roll and going up in St. Mark's.
Right.
Always bumping these guys on a Monday. Skipping school.
we were like the metal kids that like were like helping to blend those worlds, right? And so we were the early guys at the matinees, like trying to take that all in because of the music, and you hear Victim in Pain, and you're like, fuck. But we all like DRI and COC, and Tommy and I both like this band called the Neos, who were on Rat Cage, who were also just super fast, and like, you were looking for the fastest hardcore band, Alarm and Siege, and like, it was about speed, like that was the thing, right? And so, we all got to know each other, and then like NYC Mayhem plays that night show at CB's with Damage, right? And the whole crowd is just like the Alleyway Crew and me and a couple of my friends, and like that's the crowd for NYC Mayhem.
I know this isn't that fluff.
That was the second show. We opened up for the Psychos. Yeah, that was the second time we played CB. So the first show I would say was June of '85. Yep. And that is October of '85, end of October of '85.
Man, early on in the game, '85.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've read things with Craig, and I've heard things from you where you're just like, for us to fucking play with the Psychos was like opening for Kiss at the Garden.
Yeah. Well, I think CBGB's had that atmosphere. Like for me, so the metal was one thing and stuff, and I kind of shunned away from it a little bit. But when I first walked into CBGB's, the feeling you got, like everything else, and the accessibility and everything else, like with the metal, with the barricades and the bouncers, and it just seemed there was a distance and whatever. This seemed like you can get started. You can play there. You can talk to the bands. It just seemed, very personal, very warm. And look at it, what family this is. Like it was the right decision. I felt as soon as I walked in the place. I walked in there in 1984 to see AOD, and it was, the smell of it, everything else. It hit me, gave me goosebumps, even talking about it now. And this is the place I'm supposed to be. This is it, and it just seemed like this is where we get started. This is, like so many other bands, right?
I think we all had that experience, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
We're doing this right now because of that, right?
Yes. Exactly.
So here's the Mayhem demo. You drew this, right?
Yeah. I, in school, I would draw all these things, never do my homework, nothing. I used my notebook, all the covers of everything, the white page that was in the textbooks would be concerts, drums, speakers, this kind of stuff. That's all I did in school, like my last year of school. It just, this was on my mind, all the time.
And you created the Speedy character.
Yes, yeah.
Was that meant to be like the DRI skanking guy, but your version?
Probably, I would think so. The guy got ripped apart over there. Yeah, just what was I? 1985. So I just turned 15.
Yeah,
in June, so 14, 15 around that era. So yeah, I wanted to be a part of that whole hardcore thing. It just this is you express yourself, and it seemed like I had the opportunity and to do that. Yeah. Like Stevie's like I got a band I want to play, But I really laugh about. Go ahead. Sorry.
When you guys, Howie, you and Tommy, when you guys first started going down the CBs, you hear a little bit about long hairs and skinheads and violence. What was the atmosphere when you guys first started showing up at CBs? Was it in the middle of that scrum?
No,
I never had a problem. I went in with long hair. I never had a problem. Nobody ever approached us. Nobody ever said anything negative. I think of the first people I met actually seeing was Venom Vic, metal guy, Blake from Sheer Terror. Yep. And these guys, a little older and stuff like that. And I think by the time we got to see, maybe if we came in 82 or something, maybe a little different, 87s, a little more. But it seemed a little more, one generation left, and the guys were a little older, and it really became about the music. Even AF coming into their own and stuff, like it became more and stuff. And I think they appreciate it, just like these guys can play, and that's what it was.
Hey, Tommy, Is the door open? Could you close the door? Because we're picking up the noise in the background with your wife.
Okay, hold on. I got to turn the TV off. I got my in-law.
Right, go ahead.
Can we,
Yeah, so I'll answer the same question. I mean, it wasn't negative at all. I mean, it was sort of intimidating because the scene was small and everybody sort of knew each other, you know. So you're walking into a show, if it wasn't like AF or Murphy's Law or something, where there was 50 people there, you know what I mean? And everyone knew each other, and you were the outsider, but you kind of knew that going in. But you know, but everybody had that experience. And you've had a bunch of these on your show where people would be like, you know, I went down to CB's for the first time, and there was this guy named Vinny Stigma standing outside, and he would like be the personal welcoming committee to everybody. Like, oh, you're here to see the show? Good, I'll see you inside. But Blake from Sheer Terror was another one who he was more of a metal guy. He was into like Celtic Frost and shit. He wanted, you know, he just wanted to meet you, you know, and it was cool. And the thing where it changed was a little bit on the dance floor because New York had a style to it. And if you weren't aware of it and you didn't know it and you just started flailing and punching people, you were the ugly American and you were going to get dealt with. But you got like a nice little talking to, you know what I mean? And they were just like, just be here. And if you're here for the right reason, you are welcome. Like we're tiny. Like this is a tiny thing we have here.
Like you said, to me, I think it was a turnover too. Like they're probably the first generation, you feel like 80, 81, 82, 83. You know, guys get older because I was only in the scene, you know, maybe from like 14 to 18. Right. And I had a kid and everything else. So I think a lot of people do that. Like they go through it and they go on, they get a little older and, you know, it was getting quiet and the support, it has to grow. Otherwise it's going to die. It needs to be fed. And I think all of us come at the same time. We kind of carried that torch, you know, when a music scene hits, even like with punk rock scene and all these bands, even Pretenders, it a rippling effect. And then they become good at what they do and they kind of, I'd say move on, but that's their roots. And, but it does, and to keep that going and to feed that, it needs people. You need to be open and shut. It's not just mine and everything else. Music's everybody's, you know, and it's about sharing it and people coming in. You know, I love to see this. I love what Drew's doing over the Bowery Electric or somebody got the name right, but you know, the different venues and this continuing because it's just, you know, that's why we're doing this. It has, you know.
Yeah, 100%. You know, as like a first wave American hardcore dude who came in like 91, 92, 93. By 95, there was new blood, new kids coming in, and I was sort of looking at a little bit towards the next thing. As a guy that's been around the hardcore scene for 5 years, I wasn't trying to come down to every CB matinee and hang out on the sidewalk. You know, I was the kids. Guys my age were kind of going to the next thing, and I was going along with them. You know. Yeah.
You know, it's just natural progression. You come in, you feel what they feel, and you see it, and that's excitement. Never miss the matinee, even if it was terrible. See the Nils or
whoever,
whatever it was. I don't care. Scornflakes going.
No, it was like, what time are we meeting up to go to see? Nobody asked who played. You know,
some were hits, most were hits, some were misses, but you know,
somewhere you never left the sidewalk.
Sometimes you went there, and some bands surprise you, you know, and it was like, man, you have a great time. Remember the Offenders played there, and it wasn't great band, and they sounded unbelievable. What the energy they had, you know. There's some things that capture, like when the Cro-Mags or AF played there, it felt like you were at like a Priest concert in the Garden. The energy in there and the atmosphere was just something for a place that small. Like it just, you know, it was something, man. You know, it's a great feeling, man. It's a feeling of alive, and you know. What a good.
And it was very much about the music, like Tommy's right. Like
Always about that.
Really
That's what I love about the beginning.
It took a little while for
everything else.
It took a little while for people to go down there because they were trying to be a part of something. But like people showed up there for the music. I know that we did because it was about, I heard this band DRI. Is there a band like that in New York? Oh, in your case, you were like, we'll start one. You know.
Yeah, CB's is a church. It's a church, and it's there. It's a house of worship.
Yep. And then bands like Nuclear Assault would start playing the matinees, you know?
Yeah.
And
it became great, you know, and open up. That's what it does. Like you grow and you progress and you open up and you accept them. You can't, you know, deny music.
There's a tie in here. Look at who's at
Yeah.
the bottom left of the photo.
Yep, Chuck Val.
Chuck Val.
No,
And he-
oh, man, rest in peace, brother.
Rest in peace, Chuck Val. And he ties in very soon because he was involved with one of the straight ahead recordings, right? But I don't want to jump there yet. But Tommy, how does NYC Mayhem sort of wrap up,
Yeah,
and
locked.
how do you move on from there? How does that play out?
We got locked out for a second, so
yeah.
I just missed
Okay.
that whole thing.
How does
Everybody disappeared and something
NYC
came in.
how does NYC Mayhem play out?
Okay, so we're playing some shows, and we replaced Tony with Craig. It seemed like a more natural fit, and then we started, and then we started getting more different musical differences, and then Gordon didn't want to do it anymore, so we played several shows, getting a little changing in a little bit, and so he didn't want to do it anymore, so Greg called up Rob. And that was that. And then I was playing drums for a little bit when we recorded that 7-inch and the War Zone. I played drums on as well. I sang. We didn't have a drummer at the time. And then Armand was with me, walking with me to CBGB's one day, and he was like, I'll try out the drums. And so I taught him how to play drums a bit, showed him what to do, and he was a natural. He's a talented guy, and so that was the progression of it. Just I guess New York City Mayhem played its, won its course, I guess. I mean, when you're so young, you want to do what you want to do and stick it out. Mayhem was a good band, and had a lot of potential, and but you don't think of those things, like you just go on to the next thing. It's just that's what happens, and you reflect at it later on. Like, we should have did this or did that, but you're young. Those few years of playing in bands, I only played in bands three years or so, just seemed like a lifetime, and everything goes so fast back then. It seemed like it lasted forever, but everything's so quick. Do this, play that, and it's just like you just want to keep rolling, man. It's just the energy and everything else. You're like, I want to do 30 things at once. So we replaced Gordon with Rob, and Armand got on the drums, and it just took over. We started rehearsing still at Giant Studio.
But even before that, NYC Mayhem, for all the legend, recorded kind of once, right? The Urinal Records thing, which didn't really come out.
No, because we had broken up and stuff. Actually, I think we signed a contract. It was Urinal Records and Dave Jones, right, from the Mental Abuse, and the drummer who played on Victim in Pain. Yeah, so they didn't really like the way it sounded. They were a little more like when they booked shows for us, we were Mayhem more metal. So when we did the record, by the time Craig came in and stuff like that, sounds pretty good, but they didn't really like that direction. But they were like, when we started recording, they were like, we'll do this song and stuff like that. But yeah, we had broken up before it came out, and it just went away. He was a little disturbed about it, but
was this the first Straight Ahead show, Howie?
Yes, it was, and I was there. So as I was saying,
February's, is that February? Yeah.
That's Mike Bullshit's version of SFA, and then Loud and Boisterous was Lukey Luke's band.
Yeah.
And then Straight Ahead played the first show.
Yeah.
And
it says on the flyer, Straight Ahead, formerly NYC Mayhem.
Yeah. I mean, there was probably 30 people there.
Yeah.
Aside from Straight Ahead playing and us all loving Straight Ahead, was Scott Ian and Danny Looker had a foosball contest, and Danny. Oh no, sorry, it was Danny and Scott versus you and Craig.
Okay.
And I think they won.
Yeah. I was just I think I would have won with all the speed in my hands from but
I have photos somewhere.
I had fast hands.
I must say, I've never. February's is not a place I ever made it out.
You'll be just fine without ever having gone there.
Yeah, I think the only time I went there was that one show. That was
That was the first place I ever drank.
Is that right?
You could drink at 14 at that place.
Yeah, nice. Wasn't drinking back then, so
yeah. So how does the transition happen? Now you have Craig, you have that lineup. Like, how does the transition happen to, like, let's be a fucking very hardcore straight edge band, with this sound, and fit into that scene?
Well, when I grew up, where I grew up, and we experimented with drinking, smoking pot, mescaline, acid and all that. And I was only 11, 12 years old. So by the time I got my drum set and wanted to get music and stuff, I already was done with that. I didn't I might have had a few drinks in the beginning of Mayhem and stuff as a kid, but Gordon and Tony weren't. So that's all we wanted to do, be about the music. So I was basically straight edge there without saying anything. I just did everything sober. So I just like the energy when everybody started getting involved and Youth of Today came down and all these bands started coming into it. It was a good movement. It was a positive movement. I liked the energy from it. And the years of alcohol abuse and stuff like that. But being, living that way and clean and sober, that's a good way to live, And am I still on? I don't hear you.
Yeah.
But I just like the message. I didn't want it to be too militant or whatever, and maybe the misinterpretation of it. But I thought it was a great message, and I liked the energy from everybody. And everybody seemed. I mean, you had Ray B's with X's on his hands.
Yeah, right.
Good. It was to me the right thing. It felt right, and I liked the energy. I liked the camaraderie. With us and Youth of Today, when we hung out, people drank, but we didn't care. Just in that barrel, that whole straight edge scene accepted everybody. I don't think we shunned anybody or anything. We just chose not to, drink and do that. I thought it was a good way to live.
Because that time was interesting because it's a year later now. It's 86, and you have Youth of Today coming around. You have Crippled Youth. They weren't bold yet. They were still Crippled Youth. And there's this new movement, right? And it happened at the same time that the crossover thing was really starting to get big. And it was very anti-crossover. So it's interesting because we love metal, but then we also love that, that keeping it negative approach kind of style, and DYS and all of that. And it was an interesting moment because you had a parallel thing happening to the crossover, and some people really hated the crossover and super gravitated towards this new straight edge, kind of older school sound, right?
Well, those guys like Ray and all, they've been hardcore for a long time, and they grew up with old punk rock and stuff like that. They were never metal guys. So their whole background was different, and people look at it, and even me to some point, some of the metal stuff, and the reason why I went the other direction, like I said, the accessibility, the camaraderie, whatever, is a little bit different, a little more I like the energy better. Metal was distant in a lot of ways. The bands were too big or whatever. There was a separation. In the hardcore scene, there isn't. And that's what I enjoyed. When you're young like that, you don't care about money. You're not a rock star. You know what I'm saying? It's just you're just one of the guys who got up on stage and sang, and that's at that level we were on at the time. That's exactly what we wanted, right? We weren't, we just didn't care about money. Just wanted to play and have a good time.
Well, that brings me to a very interesting question that I think people want to hear about, which is the Kirk Hammett incident.
I knew that was coming up as soon as they said rock star.
Because I was just like, okay, crossover, old school straight edge hardcore, Tommy.
Hey, can I take a sponsor break? And then
we'll come back to
we'll come back on that. Okay, let's do a sponsor break here. Hey, if you can, a lot of that background noise is still coming through, Tommy.
Okay. I still got my kid here.
It is what it is. I know. All right. So let me take a sponsor break. I'll see you back here in a couple minutes, Tommy.
Talk a little louder. Talk louder.
What?
All right, Howie. Woo! All right. We're off to a good start.
Yes.
I'll see you in a minute. Let me do a sponsor thing. All right. So far, so good. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. And now a word from our sponsors. Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene, Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Will that be cash or in debt?
Do you mean debit?
Yes. Sorry. Another eternally satisfied customer.
Yo, what's happening? I'm out here at one of our all-ages Sunday matinees on the Bowery. I hope that you are enjoying today's show. I just want to let you know that the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live needs your support. Please step up. There is a Patreon page that has a lot of unique program. Shows are announced there first. Lots of good stuff. There's a PayPal address right there on the screen if you want to make a contribution. There's also a super chat function. You could do that, but the bottom line is this show exists because of your support. We're going to be doing it for a long, long time. Thank you for all your support through the years. Back to the show.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
And we're back. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Hey, want to talk about a couple upcoming shows? Whoa, make that go away. A couple of upcoming shows. A week from today, Hail Satan, Steve from Deicide will be on the show. 1 week from today. A couple days after that, Astoria Queens represent, Demi Duas will be on the show. Crown of Thorns, Still Suit, Scarhead, Homicidal, and Smoke AD. A week after that, E. Mackay's little brother will be on the show. Alec Mackay will be on, of course, Untouchables, The Faith, Ignition, The Warmers, and currently Hammered Hulls. Tim Williams VOD on Sunday, August 17th. Yo, just hanging out with him last night. Johnny Eggs from Sheer Terror. Sunday, August 24th. Wednesday, September 3rd, Mike Davenport from the Ataris. Rat from the Varukers. Discharge, War Wound, The Vile. On Wednesday, September 17th. And yo, you heard this just in. You hear it here first. Sunday, September 21st, Bobby Gustafson, Overkill, Screw, Painword, Satan's Taint, and Violence coming on the show. Yeah, we got to announce that on social media tomorrow. Bobby Gustafson. Oh, we got to announce this one too. Zach from Bulldoze. Agents of Man, Homicidal, Scarhead, and Truth and Rights. Sunday, October 15th, as we make our way to the 400th episode. Hey, the best way to support this show is on Patreon. Please stop lurking. Come in from the cold. Come out of the shadows. Join Patreon. Support this show. This show needs your support. That's what makes this happen. Shit ain't magic. It doesn't just magically happen. I'm a wizard, not a magician. There's a big difference. Anyway, if you're not a patron, please jump on board. Show needs your support. There's also a PayPal address there if you want to make a donation. It would be appreciated. And there is a super chat function as you're watching the show. If you do a super chat function for a couple of bucks, with a question. It comes through in color. I can't miss it. You go right to the front of the line. Hope all that makes sense. And that said, make sure anybody's not killing each other. That's right. Hail Satan. Steve from Deicide's coming on the show next week. That's right. Zach from Bulldoze. That's right, Francis. Whoa, nice. Whoa. Were you the Fonz? Anyway, let's bring our co-host on. What are
I
you?
forgot I brought props.
Oh.
So this came out a few years ago. Here we go. For real.
Yeah.
So this was on Radio Raheem Records. Here's the booklet, which is great, which actually has my interview with Tommy from 1985.
Wow.
From my fanzine, Occasional Irregularity, right there. And so anyway, I love the history of it because NYC Mayhem really was around for about 5 minutes when all is said and done. And I loved it because going back to that, like, if I were to start a band, that's the band I'd start. You know what I mean? It's like, that's like what I would want to sound like. This brutal metallic thing meets the hardcore speed, with like, and the lyrics and stuff on NYC Mayhem was very metal. But as it started to transition a little bit, it was songs that became straight ahead songs too. So
it's also very timely. It's a sign of the times. A band like that. It's not like a first wave American hardcore band. It's not a thrash metal band. It's really a combination of a couple things. And I mentioned to you that my cousin, Alan Dubin, who sings in Con 8 and he sings in Noah.
He was in Old Lady Drivers, which was
an Old Lady Drivers.
Which was roughly the same time, right? That's so it's like a year later, maybe. So we were all like, there were so many of us who were seeking out this completely like absurd, fast music, right? Hardcore metal didn't matter. It was just about the extremity of it all. And like who so picture listening to the first DRI album and be like, who tops that? Right? Who tops that with speed and chaos and whatever? And these were the bands, right? So it was the Old Lady Drivers and NYC Mayhem, and there was a handful of others, and that's what it was about for a while. And that led to SOD, and that led to all of those bands, Biohazard, and what's up, Danny Diablo, and Mazel Tov on your son, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations, Isaac. We love you, bro.
So it was just, like Mike Bromberg, Violent City became Unnecessary Violence, right? And so it just, that period had a sound to it. And there were a lot of people looking for it. And those were the tapes that were getting traded the most and what people were looking for.
As we're doing our show here without our guest, we'll get you on in a second, Tommy. We're doing some background. We're setting up the background. I posted this before. I think it's really interesting because it's a testament to sort of these three bands right
here. Look at the eras and the sounds, right?
You got the Mob, which is a first wave, old school New York hardcore band, right? You have Straight Ahead, which is coming through as sort of like a second generation straight edge band.
Youth Crew,
And then you got Nuclear Assault, which is a crossover band. These three bands on this bill at CBGB's.
And that's how it worked at the time. Because even when Nuclear Assault played CB's, it would have been very easy for people to be like, oh, those metalheads, right? But they didn't, because they were like, oh, Danny and John's band,
Right.
Because they were there every fucking week. They were a part of the fabric. And so that was, and New York Hoods was the fourth band on the bill.
Is that right?
Yeah, Story of Hardcore. And great guys. Also, we all knew each other. This wasn't like we'd go to a party at someone's house and there'd be members of Jack Flanagan would be there and Danny and John, and then maybe, Craig or whatever. And then the guys from the New York Hoods, and we'd all be there together. And then Sunday they're playing together.
Sure. Oh, by the way, we have a guest today, and his name is Tommy Carroll.
There he is. He's back.
Hi.
All right. So before you took the commercial break, I was asking Tommy about a very, very crucial moment that a lot of people know about.
Which I'm sure he's so sick of talking about.
He's probably very proud.
Never really joked about it too much. A couple of people ask me here and there. I always sit out.
Well, let me set the table. So basically, it was 86 or 87, Tommy. Do you remember?
I'm not sure. Probably maybe the end of 86. It was warm out. It was warm out.
So it might have been summer 86.
Yeah, I think so. This one, because all the Combat Corps things were going on,
right?
Right,
because the Crumbsuckers album was out. Right.
Yeah, this came out, right? So and they were playing. They were the band playing.
They're becoming like the big band in New York. Like
they were about crossover there. I mean, they put on great performance. They were talented musicians. They had great songs.
Yep.
A lot of energy, and they were one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that band. And then so basically what happens is, like, I think Scott Ian and Billy Milano bring Kirk Hammett from Metallica to see the Crumbsuckers. Yeah. And they're like, here's this band. Like, this band is happening in New York. Like, great combination of, hardcore and metal and musicianship and the whole thing. And so now bear in mind, I'm standing next to you. Like, I'm on the side of the stage with you. And they're just playing, right? And we're just there and we're watching the Crumbsuckers. And we have no idea Kirk's showing up or doing any of that. And so Kirk gets on stage and he's going to find his way through a guitar solo, like, while they're playing, right? He doesn't really know their music. So he gets up there, and you had an issue in your head about Kirk sort of being there at that moment. So
I'll fill in. I'll let you finish, and then I'll tell you my version of it.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, that's sort of what I got. I know what I saw. But
maybe so. Maybe, coming there and trying to, I definitely had a way of that, like that distance and the metal things and not being able to get no more, and even with the IDs, only the music, there was a distance. It seemed like they were here and you were there. That's why I always liked hardcore, and everybody's there. So getting into that, that's why I was there in the first place. I had seen them outside with 2'6". I don't know how big they were because I was only 15, 16, about 140 pounds. And these guys were gigantic. They cleared the way. He walked in the middle of them. It just, the vibe. I just had a bug up my ass. What did Billy Milano call me? A confused dickhead, right? I still am. I'm still working on that, But so I had a bug up my ass. I'm a fucking arrogant jerk off as a fucking kid, But sorry, I'm cursing. But so when I got up there, he came in and all that, parting the seat for this guy and everything else. So the mic fell down, and like an ass, I was like, get this rock star off the stage, right? So, and what he did, I didn't even know he heard it. He stuck the guitar into my chest, and he made a motion spitting at me, which no spit came out, but he was like that. So I spit back, and then he spit back, and then I just spit back again, and then the two bouncers just dragged me out of there. And somebody was like, you bit off more than you chew. Maybe I did, but those guys were pretty big. I mean, it just it was we all do. Brandon Rafferty still jerk. I like SFA when Mike bullshit sang. Always attacks and breaking his chops, but so that happened, and I kind of regretted it. It was kind of the wrong thing to do and stuff. And looking back at it and stuff, I don't think Scott Ian was really that mad at me. Billy made a big deal over it.
Billy was pissed, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, because Billy was always like, even when he wanted to sing for Mayhem, you remember that when he had that, let's work on your drum and stuff. And he was, I didn't really realize at the time, like, you have an opportunity here. You're connected to good people. You're a young guy. You could really do something with yourself. I think what his mindset was. And that was kind of blowing it, by doing that, putting people down. Just so, Metallica's been around. They put the work in. It's like, for me to say that, I'm a little out of line, but I was a kid, and I really feel it happens, and was it made a bigger deal, than it was? Maybe so. I always kind of regretted it. I'm sorry it happened. But,
it's youth. Youth.
Yeah. Because everything's FU. Everything's this. So if I see something like that, I just was like, it wasn't him personally. It's just like the whole, I don't know. when you're young, you don't really have a job, you don't have any money. So when you see people successful and you get an impression they're selling out or whatever, but that's the natural progression of things, developing whatever. So you're like, it's still easy for you to say you still live with your parents. So I'm a teenage communist, whatever, I don't know. But there's no overhead on you. There's no, it's not a career for you. It's just something you have fun with. So, it's different places in life, and just
sure.
So,
hey, let me ask you in the timeline here. I know you were playing drums for Youth of Today around this time.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And this was going on during Straight Ahead, right?
Yeah. So I guess I don't know how exactly I got in touch with Ray, but I think I became friends with him when they played as Violent Children. He was the drummer, so I liked the band, and we kind of stayed in contact. And then he started another band. They came out with that 7-inch Youth of Today, and so we were in contact. And then we played some shows. They played at Youth of Today. We seen them at their first show, and it's just natural thing. We were just all connecting and stuff, all these bands and stuff, even Token Entry and all these, everybody. So we started that little network of everybody. I played all the shows at Right Track In, right? So he just asked, and I said, yeah, I want to try out for them up in Matt's house, the singer from Crippled Youth, Bold. And they were like, everything sounded good. And they were like, can you get Craig to play bass? You need a bass.
They used you.
Yeah, they used me. We need a musician in here. So I asked him. He said yes. And rehearsed a couple times and played that CB show. And then Ray bought a van. And they were a couple of years older than us. So it was an opportunity because they had connections. Ray was in the hardcore scene for quite some time. So booking shows and stuff was a little bit easier for them. And, they did the footwork. He put a lot of work into it, a lot of effort into it. And he had some connections from being around for a little longer than we have, and knew the hardcore scene. And so we went on tour with them, and it was rough.
Well, you lived the hardcore dream. You toured the country in a van.
Yeah, only for a little bit, because the time we made it to North Carolina, that thing just exploded. This was like 1965 Volkswagen van, and we were like this far from the ceiling. We just paid down the whole way, But the thing just got there and just was like something had to give them the loaner. The tires fell off. The steam was we were scrambling. We bought some old Oldsmobile, this big tank of a car. Tore it in. No air, nothing had air conditioning. It's like 100 degrees down there. It was fun, but it was rough. Even eating, finding places to stay was it. I don't know. I think that might have put the end to my hardcore career.
This is pre-Krishna days for them, right?
Yeah, it started to lean in that direction. With the diet and you're always looking for something else. Most people come from all walks of life. We're a scene of lost souls, looking for something more than what we. So that was what they were looking for, and that was the start of it. And it was always you need some kind of spirituality. You want to be a sound person, mind, body, and spirit. And, that was I guess the progression for them, Ray and John, but they were always into that kind of thing, looking for something more and, a higher power and stuff like that. So they were already started on that by the time we met them. They were,
yeah.
He might have been in India maybe a few months after that tour.
Oh, wow.
And when that tour ended, you continued with Straight Ahead?
Yeah, so we did. So and that didn't last much longer after that. But yeah, that was rough for me. I don't know, and the touring. I should have stuck around a little longer. So everybody started going to Europe and things got a lot easier. But it was rough for a young kid, not eating and everything else. My head was just like, whew, and then I was with Alexa. You know, I was like, I just wanted to just be comfortable and go home and hang out with my girlfriend. So I jumped in the middle of the night. I just snuck out and jumped on a train from DC. And they called me up. We've been playing at the show at the Ritz. I kind of stiffed them on it, which was a little regret. I at least played the one show, and they were like, come to California with us. And I was like, you still want me? I'm the most angry, grouchiest person ever. Almost ended my friendship with Craig. I mean, we just were at each other's throats. You know, but yeah, it's, you know, so yeah. And Greg continued with them for a little bit. And then Rob talked to him, like, I can leave that band, come back with us and stuff. But we played a little while longer. I think we played to maybe another several months, and we just ran out of gas. We ran out of ideas. We got a little stale, and just the direction got a little like, you know, where are we going? And nobody's writing songs. It just got stale. You know.
Hey, how are you mentioned you kind of feel like the straight ahead stuff that's recorded for this is your favorite stuff. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, and I will want to know, like, where this and the Warzone comp came from, because it's such an interesting, like, array of bands, the 4 bands that are on it. But, like, you know, it's sort of like, I think, popped out of nowhere. I don't think a lot of people who were fans of the band saw that coming. And I know that you said, like, I don't even think it was mixed. We just sort of recorded it and whatever. No, that's, to me, the best straight ahead recorded stuff. Yeah.
No, I like it. You're trying different things. I mean, when you're young, you're influenced by certain things. But that's straight ahead right there. That's the sound of the vocals, it's the music. That's, you know, it drifted off a little bit, and other things got influenced by other things, trying to emulate. You always try to emulate who you like, and, you know, who you respect as a musician and a singer and stuff. Obviously, it's had a little HR phase going on.
Sure.
But who did it, you know?
Right.
But it's so yeah, that changed a little. But it was a guy, Mike Rubenstein, who I knew from the metal days, from the New York City Mayhem days. Because I think that recording started out, it was going to be Mayhem, and then we became Straight Ahead. So, and then he was a big fan.
Is that why you play? Lenny says you play drums on those.
I played drums on that. Yeah, we didn't have a drummer at the time. Straight Ahead never even played a show. We decided to be Straight Ahead, and Rob was with us a few rehearsals, and we just did these songs. You know, some of them were just written on the spot, like My Problem and stuff. We just didn't. I think we recorded like 12 songs. We put 9 on the record because that's all we could fit. But,
are you on that, Contos? Is that you playing drums for Attitude Adjustment on this thing?
No. I just played. That's, you know, they only got like 2 songs on their Alarm got one side, and we got most of it, most of the record.
But Chris Contos played an Attitude Adjustment. I'm just wondering if he was playing drums for that recording.
Yeah, I
asked him. We'll see. He's in the chat room. He'll let us know.
Yeah. But so like I said, the guy Mike Rubenstein, he wanted to put out a record, and he wound up putting it out, and then we ran out of time frame and mixing it, whatever. So I just put it on a cassette. And
he did.
Chris
Contos played drums on that. Very cool.
I love the Attitude Adjustment. Like, they were another one of those, like, if they were from New York, they would have been big here too. You know, like, they were just sort of that right sound at the right time.
Yeah.
Andy Anderson was the singer at the time, who was like, you know, like a much more together Rat Bones, but from the Bay.
I don't have that record. I don't really have anything, like, except what people had sent me. Like, I don't have any pictures. I don't have any, you know, records up until a while back. If some people sent me some stuff, but I didn't have anything, you know. It was so far behind me, so far removed. You know, moving and everything else got just lost in the mix. You know, that's when you asked me for the old recordings. I'm like, I don't think they made it. I was in a couple of fires since then. I think they just, you know, and all the traveling and stuff like that. I just, you know, place to place, they just never made it.
And for the New Yorkers, you know that there was a store not too far from CB's called Some Records, and it was run by a guy named Dwayne Rosignol. And so at one point, there you go, Tommy connects with Dwayne. We all used to go there between bands, basically, at CB shows. And, you know, ultimately you wind up having a conversation with him about putting out a Straight Ahead record. So how did that come about?
Well, we had already broken up. So he was like, I want to do something like as a remembrance. He's big, loved hardcore and stuff. And I was like, okay. So, you know, I gave him, he got the reels from the Chuck thing. So going back to the Chuck thing, Chuck had studio time. And he was like, you know, I was good friends with him. He was like, I want to start working the board and do my own stuff, but you got to come in like in the middle of the morning, like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was a little rough too. And so we could do so many songs. So we chose the 6 songs we did and recorded them, not knowing what we were going to do with it. Just an opportunity to record in a real studio and give him an opportunity to do some production and engineering on, you know, on the music that he loves, you know. And
was that at Chungking?
yes, it was. Yeah. So it sat around for a while. We had broken up, and Wayne had offered to put out the record, and then I think we broke up. But he goes, I still want to put it out. So I gave him the reels, and that was that. He just, you know, he made a bunch of records that came out. He did like another press, and it was really thrown together real quick, you know, because first we didn't have the money to put a cover. So we just, you know, and producing the labels and everything else, he just wrote it out here, throw it out there, you know. So, and plus the band was broken up already. So we just wanted to put the music in some, you know, a memory of it, some people so they could have it. It's really, you know, that in a nutshell.
What about the I Risk name? What's that about? I know you had a Rasta fantasy going on.
Yeah. Just, you know, the whole HR thing, you know. I don't want to understand when he first came around, he thought he was born in England. He spoke in an English accent and emulated Johnny Rotten. So, you know, we're all young, we're all influential. So, you know, but, you know, I just love the Bad Brains. Who doesn't? It's one of the greatest bands, period, let alone hardcore bands. But, yeah, I got a little wrapped up in that, you know. But yeah, you know, in a little loosey way, when you look back and be, oh, this guy's this, that, whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm 17 years old, I'm 16 years old. You know, of course I'm, you know, easily influenced and try to emulate the people that, you know, that I want to be. You know, that's what you do. And then you grow up and you look back. It straight I never had that chance for full progression. Neither did Mayhem. What would they have turned into had they? I mean, look at the guys who play in the band. I mean, you know, I'm the greatest vocalists, but those are some of the best musicians in the hardcore scene. Look at Rob on guitar and Greg on bass. This is like, what would have happened if we kept going, you know, like, you know, what we turned into and finding ourselves, because that's what you're searching for it, you know? So, you know, that's really, you know, what are you going to do? You look back, you sound like this, you emulate that, you copy this. Some of the songs sound the same, but, you know, eventually, you know, you grow up and you find your own way. But like I said, we were done by the time I was 17, so we never really hit that full potential. You know, we were only together for a year and a half or so.
And this is 89. I guess even after all this, it seemed like every once in a blue moon, you guys kind of got together and did a little benefit or reunion.
Yeah. So yeah, we did the Pete's Sake one, which is that you showed in the beginning, and there's a video from my Mo Brown, my old roommate. She videoed the Roger benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
And that might have been this one. And that show was insane. That show was so crazy. They were ripping down the top PAs. We played about 5 or 6 songs, and they shut it down and cleared it out because it was just so overpacked. And then they waited about a half hour, and they let people in again. But that was the craziest show. I mean, the energy in there was like unbelievable, man. It was such a, you know, and we were on for someone we haven't played in so long. All those guys still played. You know, I'm the only one who didn't. So they were still shocked. I mean, they're still shocked to this day. You know?
Yeah.
That show is outrageous.
That was, you know, there was no, you couldn't walk to the front. If you wanted to get out of there, you couldn't. That place from like right past the front desk to the front of the stage.
Yeah, there was like, no pit because you couldn't move.
Like a Purdue chicken farm. You would have been up straight for a good 45 minutes.
Big time.
So straight ahead kind of comes to an end, and didn't you try to get something going with Sergio? Was it early irate?
Me and Sergio hung out a lot, right? And Gingy. and we hung out with Jerry Williams. Right, we just go over there, listen to music, hang out, and they had something. I think Carl put that together because he was playing drums. I got something you want to sing. I met Sergio and stuff. I liked the guys, but I wasn't really into it anymore. But I enjoyed their company, hung out, so I gave it another shot. The same thing, it was just trying to take off, and I think EK replaced Carl. And like I said, I like those guys' company. I liked hanging out with them and conversations. But I think by that time, I was a little like my heart wasn't really into it,
Makes
I think you said the quote was washed up at 20.
Well, yeah, you peaked in high school, so to speak, Yeah, I don't know, like everything like what happened so fast, it just tumbled. I just worked myself out of it, and I don't even know why. I still got a little drum kit I kick around and stuff, but I don't know really what transpired. I mean, having a kid at a young age and stuff, but I don't know. I regret not sticking in. Singing was one thing, but not playing the drums anymore. I should have, just for my own sake, just kept my hand in it because it is a great way to express yourself. And it's now I do. I got a house now. I can buy a drum. I can play drums all I want and make all the noise I want. What it's my kid, he don't play much. I get a little pocket Ludwig. I wind up kicking that around. You got to see me behind that thing. It looks like McGill Gorilla.
Watch Tommy become Neil Peart.
Yeah. Hey, Tommy, after you kind of stepped away, is that when you kind of started your Golden Gloves run? I know you were into boxing and
stuff.
Yeah.
So there was didn't seem no outlet. So no outlet. For me to play music, people asked me to play the drums, I jammed a little bit, but there didn't seem to be much of an outlet for me. And with a kid and stuff, I needed something to, that energy still needed. I needed to satisfy that kind of itch. And there's so much into my, but the training and everything else. I kind of fought like I, sang. I just went up there and let my hands fly. So, and it filled in a gap, it was another positive thing to do for yourself. I think when you got into the whole bad brains thing, just sat in the house, smoking, wind up like wanted to be a singer, wind up sitting in the house smoking pot all day, It just, you got a little stale, and I needed to get back to, being, healthy physically and mentally and stuff. So that's what got me into that. I started running, started exercising. And Greg would always talked about fighting, and we were into boxing, and always talked about that. So I signed up for the Golden Gloves one day. I didn't even went to a gym. I just signed up, and I did all right. So when everybody came, I wanted to get knocked out. It was winning. So we just kept winning, and then everybody from the hardcore scene showed up to that fight and see me get my ass kicked.
How many
I keep winning fights. He's coming here throwing punches. I keep winning.
How many bouts in did you get?
4.
Not bad.
But I fought unattached, so I had to fight all the time. I never got any buys. So
yeah.
But yeah, and I went in and fought a few more times. I just didn't tell anybody about it. So I went into the Metropolitans, won the gloves another time, and I fought a few smokers here and there and stuff. I just kept my hand in it, but just did it quietly. I didn't really want to save myself from the embarrassment. No, not really. I mean, you get in there and stuff, and you just let your hands go. But I didn't really do it to any fanfare or anybody come down and see it. I just needed to do it for myself.
If I may ask, who are some of the boxers that you really that you really loved and you felt influenced you? Anybody, any weight class? Who are some of your favorite boxers of all time?
Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns is
the Hitman.
Yeah, Tommy Hearns is my favorite. Just fought anybody and let it all hang out. You didn't have a great chin like myself, but I could hit. And I just gained weight too fast. If I fought it when I first went in, like singing straight, I was 140 pounds, 6'1".
Yeah.
If I could have stayed there, I think, but when you move up 170, 175, and 180, you're getting a little heavy and fighting bigger guys. But, but yeah, Hearns, Nigel Benn, I like from Britain, another guy let it all hang out,
Yeah.
Is you have, of course, the other fighters that stand out. Those are two of them, and Jeff Fennick, an Australian fighter with 3 titles. He's maybe a little obscure to the not the common boxing, the uncommon boxing fan or whatever, not the diehard fan, but those 3, of course, Tyson and anybody that went in there and just fought with if their hands go. There's a lot of other fights.
Hey, speaking of fighters and boxers,
Evander Holyfield.
Somebody wants to say hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Craig Setari.
Hey.
What's up, fellas? What's going on?
There he is. Speaking of tough guys.
Sure.
What's our catch weight? What are you tipping the scales at? What's our catch weight?
I'm like 206 right now. It's a little
I got it. Yeah, you're lucky. I got about a year. I'll get down to about 40, 45 more pounds.
Yeah, it'd be too much for me. I can't really. I can't get back there.
Woke up 218. We'll meet at 218.
218.
It gets hard when you get older to lose that kind of weight. It's if I look at food, I gain weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You kind of look like an empty bag with you. You gotta fill out a little bit. You got a lot of loose skin. You gotta keep.
How you doing? How you doing, Scully? How was your little? Weren't you just out on the road with the tape?
I played last night in Boston, Cambridge, at the Middle East with we did that Michael.
Oh, that's right.
Michael from the Street Dogs. We did his first Dropkick Murphys album thing with the take. It was fun. Something I can't get. I want to get this big on the screen. I just have you guys as really
Turn
small.
It this way.
Turn it this way. You see that?
Come on. Hey.
That's a little better.
We got all of Craig now.
Fucking guy.
Tiny heads.
Yeah.
By the way, it's Black T-shirt day, evidently.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it makes me look. A little lighter.
It slims everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still. Anyway, what's going on, fellas? How you doing, Howie?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I can't complain. Life's good. Thomas, Drew, 3 of my favorite people right here.
Yeah.
Hey, Craig.
I'm excited about this.
Hey, Craig,
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us a little something about kind of the New York City Mayhem days, or give us a little tidbit about
touring in a van with Tommy Carroll?
We'll get to that. Tommy, first of all, let me say Tommy's one of my dearest friends, one of my oldest friends. I love him, and I'll always love him. Tommy, I love you, buddy.
I love you too, man.
No way around it.
Yeah.
Couldn't not love you if I wanted to.
Too lovable.
You're very lovable. He's like a big teddy bear. You know what I mean? So the Mayhem days, that was when we first started going to shows. Probably we met in probably 84, 85, something like that. And we just talked at shows. We were into the same kind of stuff. We were into just very extreme music, like hardcore and crossover stuff. And we just wanted it to be very fast and very furious. It was more about the sound in those days than the message. And we just clicked at shows. We talked at shows. We became friends. I went to see his band rehearse. And then next time I saw him, he said, hey, join the band. So I did. And then we eventually turned it into Straight Ahead,
That makes sense.
Just kind of went that way.
Yeah, we discussed. Have you seen the whole rest of the show, Craig?
No, he just showed up. I
just showed up. I was out getting an oil change.
He knows the story.
I guess you know what you're talking about.
Hey,
I was getting an oil change on the Sick of It All band.
Right.
Scully, we were talking about look at how skinny this kid, but look at the size of his hands.
Well, my hands were big, right?
Yeah, they're huge. You're like a fucking freak, bro. With the
you have Lilker hands.
Yeah.
What I was going to say earlier.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my hands. It's also the photo, but I have fairly big hands. You know what I mean? And watch out, Thomas.
And stubby little fingers.
You
Bone juice. You want a little bone juice?
I'm down to 190, where you just can't really keep the weight. Then I'll run around you, and hopefully not get hit. Anyway, I can't get this damn thing to be big. You're good. Super.
You're good.
Yeah, I know, but I can't see you guys.
Don't touch it.
It says like the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. It has the whole heading and all the stuff underneath. Last time I did this, it didn't work, but it was a big screen. You know what I mean?
So this is the first time I didn't have you back on the show. Oh, see, there he goes. See, I was motherfucker. I was saying,
You're like, stop touching things.
guys,
Leave well enough alone.
you know, you got to touch. Don't touch things. You know, here he comes. He's coming back. Hold on.
Hey, guess what? Don't touch
Stop touching things.
Don't
Stop
touch it. All right,
things.
I'm not touching it again.
What's up with the
Mayhem
sick of
was
it all?
fun, you
What's
know?
up with the sick of it all, Van?
Sick of it all, Van. I got an oil change on it, and I'm supposed to get a tire rotation. But, you know, I couldn't. You got to make a separate appointment for that. So we needed an oil change, so I did that. You know, keep it in shape. You know what I mean? Because hopefully next year or something like that, we'll be playing again. You know.
Hey, let me ask you this. This guy's name has come up as like a common denominator with you and Tommy and a lot of other people. Give us another take on Danny Loker and how he played in like with the Setari family and you guys.
Well, the way it worked was Danny was he was in music class with my brother when they first went to high school. So at Bayside High School, they had like first period music class together. So Danny would help my brother with the bass, and what happened was Danny became friends, and Danny would come to my house for lunch, and they wanted Scott originally. Danny's idea was to get Scott to learn bass enough to play bass for Anthrax, the first iteration of Anthrax, and because Danny wanted to play guitar in that. So he brought a bass to my house. It was an old Guild bass with flat wound strings, and my brother, you know, he played a little bit. He didn't care too much. He wanted to like run around, drink beer, and like meet girls. So I just played the thing from when I was 10 years old. He brought it over. I played the thing every day. It looks better now. I can see myself a lot better. So I played from when I was 10 years old. Like, you know, I'd play all day. I'd come home from school. I'd play bass until I went to sleep, and I did that until I was like 12 or 13. You know, and I started playing shows. So I just practiced. But Danny would come over. You know who else would come over? It was Big Charlie Hankins, rest his soul. You know, a moment of silence for Big Charlie Hankins.
Yeah, I got a shot at him. Hold on.
He went to Bayside as well, right?
He went to Bayside High School, and my brother tried out for the football team, and my brother was like a bench warmer for the football team. But you know, Charlie and Danny and my brother Scott would hang out, so they'd both come over for lunch. My mom would make lunch. My mom could cook, as you guys all know.
Yo,
you know?
I just found a great picture. I just going through the archive. Get a load of this one. Talking about Big Charlie. There's Big Charlie, and there's Tommy.
There it is. Best guy, Charlie. So anyway,
BJ's in there too.
Yep.
So I knew those guys. So Danny was really big on helping us. He was like a big brother to us with the music, and he was into the same kind of music, you know. So he kind of like always kind of guided us, and he was very helpful, you know. And then the first time I went to a show, Big Charlie was there, and he introduced me to everybody, and I met Stigma, and we were friends ever since. But this really is this is Tommy's thing, so I don't want to clog it up too much.
It's our thing, you know. I mean, it's
our thing. But
everybody wants to hear it. Some things I just don't remember. I knew that, you know, the bass and your brother and stuff like that, but I just, you know, if you came on, it's your story to tell, you know.
But you guys were very interconnected there for a long time. Like, you were fucking Mick and Keith kind of, you know, hardcore Mick and Keith.
Yeah, a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're born the same year. We're about 2 weeks apart. And
what are you? You're the 11th, right?
What? The 2nd. And you're the
second. I'm the 16th. So we're exactly 2 weeks apart. Yep. But you know, we just kind of clicked. It was one of those things that just made sense. You know what I mean? And like musically, everything went really well. We had Gordon in there, who was a really good guitar player and a good guy, and we had fun. You know, the Mayhem thing was really fun. And then Gordon wanted to do something else, so we formed Straight Ahead. And I was like, all right, I know a guy, because I knew Rob, you know, Das, from playing in Smegma with him before that. We didn't do any shows, but we used to rehearse and write songs and do all that. So you know, we brought in Das. Das is a great guitar player, and then one day I think it was both of us, Tommy. We were talking to Armand outside of CB's, and we said, hey, you know, Tommy's going to sing. He wants the front. And Armand was like, I want to try it on drums, and I was like, you're not a drummer. He's like, I always want.
Phoebe's, I think we got a pizza or something. We were walking towards there, and he was like, I'll play drums. I'm like, okay.
He never played, but he gave it a shot, and it worked out.
Look at him now.
Is that how Armand? Is that how Armand launched his drumming career?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, he's a talented guy, good guitar player, good songwriter. He's a smart guy, anything he pick up, especially at a young age, he was going to be fine. As soon as I heard him on the drums, I knew he was a natural. Showed him a few things.
That's why he didn't play on the End of Warzone tracks, because he had only started playing in the band like a week or two before that. So we were like,
Oh, that's what it was. I didn't even know he was in there yet.
That's what it was. And you were like, you were like, yo, we got to do this fast. I'll just play drums because Tommy knew the songs.
Tommy to do it,
Yeah, so Tommy knew the songs. So he sat that one out, but then he wound up playing on the EP, the EP, the Lion EP that we did with Chuck Val, rest his soul.
Yeah.
And, Chuck really helped us out. Chuck was a big part of Straight Ahead as well.
Yeah.
He was like another guy. Yeah. He was a guy like Danny that just helped us out. We would have a gig and I'd have no amp, right? And Chuck knew that. Chuck would call me up like a few days before the gig and be like,
he was a good soul, man.
He was the best
guy, man.
Rest his soul. And I was like, he's like, yo, I'm going to bring my amp to the show. I was like, but you're not playing. He goes, I'm just going to bring it anyway. And I knew what he was doing. He was just knew I didn't have an amp. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, thanks, Chuck. He was the best guy. And then for the recording, Tommy, you set that up. So you tell that. I'll be back in half a second.
Okay. Right, go ahead.
What recording was that?
This is the one you did at Chung King.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Chuck was like, listen, I got studio time. Because me and Chuck used to ride skateboards on the Lower East Side to like 5 a.m. and I'll stay out all night. And he just was like, one night he was like, yo, I got some studio time. I'm working at Chung King, and I clocked enough time to get some hours. I got to put enough of them together. So do you want to record something? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, the only thing, like I said, it has to be like in the middle of the night, like 1, 2 in the morning. But we did it for a little while. It had to be quick. So, the mixing, whatever. And the first vocals didn't go too good. We redid them. They were okay. But like I said, it was trying to emulate someone else instead of being, just trying to find myself. We went over that before. But it came out good. When I look back, and listen to it, it's,
it's really good.
Breakaway is, and Right Ideas.
Great song.
Very innovative, like different kind of song. It's, like I said, like we said earlier, the natural progression of, what it would have been, even with Mayhem and Straight Ahead, it's,
I have a question.
Guys with serious talent, How did
this all come about with Patrick from Tribal?
Craig probably knows more about that because he did the interview before me. I might have been the last one to do it.
I've been friends with Patrick for years, so he just was always asking about Straight Ahead. And it's like people always ask me about it. And I always felt like it was special. It was a very special band. And I feel like, that End of Warzone especially is like really, really, I feel I still listen to that and I'm like, wow. We were doing some that we like the way that's where my style of bass, I think to myself, that's how I play bass.
See, that's what Straight Ahead sounds like to me. It was that in the Warzone 7-inch. And Tommy said it may not have even been mixed or anything, but it's so perfectly straight ahead for that moment. It's the best recording.
I remember when we did that, we did it in 3 hours at a studio. Tommy knows the studio. It was uptown, right? You picked it.
Well, the guy opened Platinum. Did you guys record a record there? It was the same guy.
Maybe.
It was a big fun something. And I just called. It was on 86th Street.
Wasn't it the dude that did sound for the Bad Brains years later? What was his name? The thin guy.
Well, dark-haired guy. He did like a lot of hip-hop. They moved Platinum somewhere. Ludacris did their record there. I think you did an album there.
Yeah, it's confusing to me a little bit.
It was the same guy. Like looking up Platinum Records. So the studio, where was it? Connecticut.
So Platinum Island Records? No.
I don't know if it's Platinum.
No, that wasn't 86th Street.
No.
Yeah.
One step.
He had a studio before Platinum. Platinum became years later. It was the same guy because he knew Chuck, and then Chuck was like, "This guy knows what he's doing," and they recorded him. but it was the same guy. He just started out. He had like a little it was almost like a makeshift spot in like some kind of like rental room in an old hotel on 86th right?
So there's more Chuck coming in. I didn't know that Chuck told Tommy to go there. Chuck was very involved, great guy.
Yeah, because I turned Chuck on to that guy. He goes, "Where they record that one?" And I told him, and obviously he knew the guy, and they wound up recording their record there when studio.
You booked 3 hours at that place, and it was
3 hours.
$25 an hour. I remember this clearly. and the way we did it is it was just me, Armand. Armand wasn't there. It was myself, Tommy, and Rob. And we just plugged in. I played right in. I didn't have an amp. I just went right into the board with my red bass. Yeah. That's why it sounds so nasty, because red sounds really good. And we just played the songs live. And when we were done, Tommy sang them, and me and Rob stood next to him and just shouted the backups along with him.
Yeah.
Wow. And then I was like, all right, Tommy, we got to mix this. And he wound up sending it before we mixed it. And I remember I was mad. I was like, what are you doing? We should have spent an hour or two mixing it. But now I look back at it, I'm like, that's the way.
Well, I think we ran out of time. I don't know so much money, but Rubenstein was pressuring. I need that tape. And he go, we're going to go in there and do it. And then finally I just was like, here's the cassette. See what you can do with it.
Plus, it's kind of cool unmixed. It's like kind of tough, like unmixed 3 hours.
This is gonna be me on the phone tonight to my band. Listen, this is what we should do. We should
don't mix it.
And when I do the vocals, you guys should stand like 2 feet behind me and
like
just
spit right on my neck
and just chime in.
Yeah. But by the way, just
make up with enthusiasm and youthfulness. That's all those recordings are just natural.
I think in Unnecessary Violence, my backups, I went to negativity. I drag it out. You hear just me with my 15-year-old voice, by itself. It was like one take. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, Scully. Any memories of some of these great straight ahead CB shows? Could you give us any perspective on that?
I mean, we would play CBs, and like at that point in our lives, Tommy will agree with this. You just showed up and you were you had goosebumps. Like, I'm going to go out there tonight and I'm going to actually hurl myself off the stage into the people. You were so excited. Just I'm going to give 10,000%. Like, you were just flying out at people. I was playing the thing and jumping into the crowd. I didn't care. So we would just go out and rip, and you'd be just goosebumps and adrenaline. Yeah. It was great. It was it was the peak of, it was youthful exuberance. It was that youth energy channeled into something constructive to the utmost.
Yeah.
If Straight Ahead would have stuck around, longer, I still think you guys dwarf every fucking straight edge band there was. But if you guys had stuck around, they'd be talking about you and not Youth of Today.
Well,
I think we're different from Youth of Today. I think we'd be on our own right. Straight edge was one thing, and like a base for us. But me and Greg, grew up in a rough environment. And we experimented drugs and alcohol at an early age, and we decided we wanted to play music, and that's what we wanted to do. And we didn't want anything to hamper that. So we were already straight edge when we came in there. So it wasn't a transition. We just stayed it.
We were very similar in the way we came up. You know what I mean? I won't get into that, but we had similarities in the way we
music
came
was
up.
Our escape. Music was an opportunity 100%. To make better our lives.
Right.
100%.
And just another thing, Drew, there's someone asking about a question about Tommy maybe having knocked someone out. We talked about it, and we're not going to talk about it out of respect for Saab.
Unnecessary violence.
Listen.
Who is no longer with us. So, you can keep asking, but we're not going to talk about it.
What's that, Scully?
This was the 80s, and we were all kids growing up in the boroughs in the city. We were these type of kids. And a new kid comes in, he tries to, get his slice of the wood, and things happen. So that's the nature of the time we grew up, people kind of jockeying for position. And I'll say Saab was my friend, and I had nothing but respect for him. And whatever happened, came back. My other friend who's on this with me right up there in the eye shook his hand, and that was the end of it. So that is the end of it. Right, Tommy?
Yeah, I came over to Riverton Street and hung out. Brian brought him over, and I don't really.
He was a good guy.
I know how I am, and I never really pass judgment on anybody, you know.
Tommy's easy, man. Tommy's an easy guy to get along with. I mean, he had a reputation as a guy that would fight and all that, and he can fight very well. And but like what I'm saying is, well, you're a little old now, but it's as easy as a conversation with him. He's like he's not a hard guy. He's a cool guy. You're cool, Tommy. You always were.
I think Tommy mentioned this before, and we've mentioned this a lot of times. Back then, when you're that young, like a month is like 5 years. Things happen. So much happens in a summer, and it's like we're talking about this sort of. People have spun this kind of stuff in New York into New York hardcore folklore.
I'm sure we're talking about it 41 years later, 40 years later. Right?
Even like the Kirk Hammett incident or Scully. I'm sure when you go to Europe, it's like, tell us about the time. Yeah,
it's a little much. Yeah. You know what makes me think about perspective like that? We were good friends with Todd Youth, rest his soul. Another great guy. That tribunal of those three. Charlie, Chuck, and Todd, God bless their souls. They were great people, good friends, So I remember Todd, we would hang out with Todd a lot, and it was like, 86, let's say. And we talk about when we came into hardcore, and I was like, yeah, I started coming to shows around 84, And Todd was like, yeah, I started coming to shows in 82. And I remember being like, wow, 82, that's so, it was 2 years, but it was like 20 back then. Now 2 years is like the blink of an eye. That's to go on top of what you were saying earlier, Drew. It's like 2 years were a huge amount of time. So much happened.
Yeah,
for sure. And then as we get older, it seems like things happen. Years go by like this.
No, too quick, too fast now.
Real quick.
I won't stop.
You know what I thought about Straight Ahead? We were talking about the Straight Ahead way it sounded and all that. I think when I listen to Straight Ahead now, I really appreciate it. It's very. I use the word eclectic because we sounded like nobody else. If I showed you the actual songs, playing them slowly, and you heard the parts, it's like super musical. It's like very bright, and the changes. It has a lot of dynamic to it. It's just super fast, but it's super musical.
Who's to Blame? It's like
Who's to Blame is the one I'm thinking of. It's a super musical song.
Melody, Yeah, we were. I mean, we wanted to show musicianship. Before it was just fast and blazing, but to fit all that in, to fit all that melodic kind of stuff.
I was putting a million notes in there at a million miles an hour. Those riffs were like it was almost like classical music and hardcore. To not sound crazy, but it was wild. There was some wild stuff.
Yeah, enjoyed playing it.
I think everybody coming from like this love of metal, also I think that influenced. In an interesting way, a band like Mayhem and then Straight Ahead, because, like metal guys cared about production and they cared about musicianship.
Good riffs that sounded right.
Riffs were everything. Together. Right? Riffs were everything.
Where a song goes, like, you're playing something in E, you break to C, then you have the dance part. Like, I know music because I know how to play. I'm not just a guy that plays hardcore. I'm an actual bass player, musician. So even when I was young, like I learned all that stuff. So like I know how to shift to here and here to create a dynamic, which like brings out more energy because you know where to go. You know what I'm saying? And like with Tommy's drum style back then, which was completely insane, it like took the musicality. It was like putting the music in a blender and making it like into this crazy concoction. It was like steroids in a glass, you know what I mean? With glass, or whatever.
It's funny because NYC Mayhem was trying to do that, but like didn't transition parts quite as smoothly.
Not at all.
To Straight Ahead. Like suddenly you'd be playing
melody,
and all of a sudden there's another tempo going on.
I kind of feel like Das was a big part of making that happen.
Well, Das is very buttoned up. He's a very good guitar player, but so was Gordon. They were both great guitar players. I think like you listen to End of Warzone, the way Tommy played drums, it's more crisp than Mayhem was. We were like getting better. You know what I mean? Like we were sloppy before that, and then we were starting to get like buttoned up and like find our way we were like at that point we were like 16 going on 17, so we were like strong enough to actually like hold the instruments and get our hands around them.
Filling all those pockets, you know. That stuff, and actually having more structure at that speed was it was something, you know. I mean, and playing the drum, I wanted to sing, you know. My ego was telling me to sing.
Yeah, well, you were a front man.
But the drum playing is, like I showed Armand, he picked right up on it, and he was.
Armand was great because Armand comes in, and Armand's very organized musically, so he added another element of us kind of like completing the whole picture. I mean, Armand was a big part of Straight Ahead. All four of us played our parts. You know what I mean? 100%.
Straight about us, it's only us. Straight Ahead's only us. So the four of us, that's Straight Ahead, and that's it. And, you know, so it's. So they'll take solace in that.
Be replaced in that band. It's just the way it was.
Yep.
Hey, I got to take a quick sponsor break, and then
right.
Scully, you gonna hang out a minute?
Yeah, I'll hang out. Sure.
Yeah. I gotta plug this thing in. I got a low battery. Go
ahead. I'm gonna do a sponsored thing for a couple minutes. Okay. Come back. We'll take some questions from around the world. We'll have a couple more.
Yeah, I'll stay on. I'm just gonna plug this thing.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll see you in a minute. All right, Howie.
Oh, Craig was a nice surprise.
He started texting me. He was like, "I'm getting my oil changed. Should I send me the link? I'll come on." I'm like, "All right, come on."
No, perfect.
I also heard from Das and I heard from Armand also. So,
I wonder where Gordon is. Where's Gordon?
You know, Gordon won't come on the show. He won't do it.
Silly. So I mean, I know he's a quiet guy, but you know,
he agreed and then he bailed out. It's fucking bullshit.
Anyway,
let me do some sponsor shit. I'll see you in a minute.
All right.
You got questions? It's time to post them. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Our guest today is Tommy Carroll, co-hosted by Howie Abrams with special guest Craig Setari. Like I said before, this is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by blah, 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 and Mad Vintage. Mad Vintage buys, sells, and collects band shirts, primarily hardcore. The DIY operation was started and is operated by a hardcore kid who just loves collecting and eventually got into vintage clothing, specifically the realm of vintage band shirts. They're always looking to buy out collections to either keep, sell, or trade new shirts added daily at www.madvintage.com and post it on Instagram. Dig deep into that closet of crap. Reach out to them. Help me help you. Mad Vintage. Last but not least, come on now. Candle Witch Co. is a female-owned entrepreneur business based out of Connecticut. Owner Rachel King Keys handcrafts soy wax candles set with intentions for your sanctuaries. She has accomplished a life goal dream since beauty school, debuting her artist showcase, Hotties and Hellions, that feature live bands, burlesque, sideshow acts, vendors, food trucks, and this year, a live auction with all proceeds going to the mental health program Punk Rock Saves Lives. Catch her in the tri-state area doing her thing, slinging candles at events, and keep an eye out for her coming to New York in the spring of 2026. You can find her on Etsy and on Instagram at Candle Witch Co. That said, a couple of events coming up. Crazy Eddie's last show, the final show, Sunday, August 3rd at the Bowery Electric Free All Ages Sunday Matinee, part of the Uptown Rumble music exhibit on display at the Museum of Bronx History, along with Brass Knuckle Brigade, the return of Enziguri, Four in the Chamber, and Goat of Mentz. Hey, if you're out in way deep into Pennsylvania, we, Incendiary Device, are coming out to play the Upstage Music Fest with E-Town Concrete, Sworn Enemy, Brick by Brick, and many others. That's Saturday, August 9th. Come on out, see us smash through the Incendiary Device set. Sunday, August 31st, back at our home at the Bowery Electric, Free All Ages Sunday Matinee, Demise, Nailed to the Cross, Cropsy, Jackknife Johnny, and Concrete Burial. Another Free All Ages Matinee, Sunday, September 14th. It's 24/7 Spies with Others. We just announced this Sunday, October 12th. ID's headlining the Bowery Electric with non-residents Dead Blow Hammer, Overstand, speaking of Warzone, featuring Todd the Kid from Warzone and Steel Toe Solution. And we're playing with GBH out at Crass Fest Saturday, October 18th. And then, of course, the Holiday Slamboree brought to you by Women of the Pit. It's their coat drive. We're revving up the My War thing again. New songs, new singers, along with Butterbrain, Tree, Serial Poets, and World of chaos. So lots going on. Any questions you have? I know you got questions. Post them up. Go deep, get weird. Questions for Tommy Carroll, Craig Setari, Howie Abrams. Post now. Denizens of the deep. Post now. And I know the most obvious question. Somebody has to post it so I can ask it. So post that question. That said, hey, I want to just once again, please support the show on Patreon. The show needs your support. That's how we're able to do it. And nobody's getting rich here, but it's enabling me to focus up on this show and not have to go running out there and drive a cab or flip burgers. So I appreciate that. There's the Patreon address. Not that there's anything wrong with driving a cab or flipping burgers. There's the Patreon address. Please join Patreon. There's a PayPal address. Do a super chat function. Get involved. Stop lurking. Post your questions. Let's see. All right. Okay. All right. Let's bring it. Here we go. You ready?
I have a question for them actually. So when you bring them back on,
okay. Let's get Tommy back on.
There's
Let's get Craig back on. Let me put everybody where I like to kind of put everybody.
Yo, Drew, whatever you hit earlier that made my screen be bigger. Can you do that again?
I didn't hit anything, bro.
Come on, what's the use of being hardcore if you can't be a moron? Help me out here. Come on.
Hey,
I got a question.
You've moved in leaps and bounds. The fact that you can even come on the show now after all these years. Go ahead, Howie. What do you got?
So here's the question. There's always been a debate about where the blast beat started. And it wasn't even called the fucking blast beat. And I asked Craig, I asked Tommy earlier about cheating. But, like, do you have any idea really where the blast beat came from?
Tommy's way of doing the blast beat came from Tommy.
Right.
The roll with the cymbals, that's like him taking, I don't know, he kind of came up with that as far as I see it. Blast beats,
DRA, the Neos, there's so many
bands like that though. Yeah.
I just incorporated to my own thing, and that it's like anything in music. Like, where did it come from? Oh, this guy started it, but you go back. I mean, the history of music, it's just never ending. It's just like intertwining and everything else. Like, it's your own interpretation of it. I always believe music's not yours; it's everybody's, and it's there to put. You just jump into the cycle, and it just keeps going. You add to it, and it's just momentum. And then somebody, is influenced by you, but you're influenced by someone else. Who was that person influenced by? It's just a long line of just, like making something. Like, we only have such a short lifetime, and just contributing and adding to it and changing and evolving. That's, anything in life. It's just life.
It's all rock and roll. It's all, which is all blues.
Let me
ask
you
this though.
You
want to break down? You want give me like a minute and a half, right? All right. So DRI. Symbol 1 2 3. Ba ba ba. 1 2 1 2 3. And I'm not a hi-hat 3. 1 1 2 1 2 3. 1 2. Or they do 1 1 2 3 4 5. 1 1 2 3 4 5. 1 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 1 2 1 1 2. That's like their style of beat. Other bands have, what we had was symbol as the time with like a so boom boom boom. So we did that. I sound crazy right now. If Armand sees this, he's gonna love it. We had more like Tom's as the timing as opposed to this. We had this in Mayhem, but straight ahead became boom, like if the riff was who's to blame? But it was so we had our own style that Tommy came up with, which was, I think, great because the different tones of the drums with those riffs being fast and musical, it sounded great.
So let me
I used to like people use drum sets and leave drums out, get everybody involved. And this little cymbal
Go wild.
Everybody's involved. You're all going to get a hit several times before the song's over.
That was a that was a mid-'80s thrash drum clinic right there.
So let me ask you. Thorsten Isles says
Municipal Waste is watching.
Tommy, he says, Tommy, I would think that your drumming style in New York City Mayhem and Straight Ahead must have been pretty influential on some bands of the hardcore, grindcore, extreme metal genres that came later on. I wonder if you ever got some recognition from some of these bands that got popular doing all that ultra fast blast beat stuff.
I know he did. All those
Yeah, I wasn't really around, but like when I look back, there's a lot of bands that appreciate it and stuff. The guy Skepsis, I can't even pronounce his name, but a lot of guys were.
Napalm Death guys love us.
Like when I read all the for so long, and I like reading things, it actually touched by it. Like it did, influence people and then mention it being how little you think it is and how local it was. It's. But yeah, I obviously if that's what you listen to and you were into it, that's what's going to influence you.
Hey Tommy, have you seen your hardcore trading card?
Was that's from Ray's farm?
Yeah, you and Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, they chopped. That's Ray's ear to the left.
I'm gonna hang that picture up in the barn so when I get into weight.
Your dartboard. Put on the bag. Boom.
I'm coming for you, Carroll.
The back is good though.
I got a trading card. I finally got on this show.
There you go. Look, the back of the card. The back of the card's great.
I gotta get my glasses.
New York City Mayhem was cited as a huge influence on early grindcore by members of Carcass, Napalm Death, Heresy, Warhammer, Repulsion, and many others. Charlie Benante of Anthrax credits them with exposing him to blast beat drums, and Tom Capone from Quicksand, they are one of his favorite bands in the world.
Yeah, Tom Capone, good guy. Yeah, he was around in there and stuff, crossover guy. Yeah.
Like those Anthrax guys, like through Danny and my brother going to high school with all of those guys. Those guys were like into punk and hardcore and metal. Those guys were involved. I mean, the first time I ever heard punk, I was friends with Jason, Scott's younger brother. I heard the first Exploited album at like Scott's house. Like right when I first met Danny, because that's right when I met like Jason, who was like around my age and played drums. That was like the first kind of music thing I ever played was Jason, like in his room trying to like make a band. You know what I mean?
And here's how incredibly far-reaching this stuff was. Paul Stone says, honestly, 5,000 miles away in Yorkshire, we had the New York City Mayhem and Straight Ahead stuff at the same time as Crippled Youth and Youth of Today. Incredible.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. For me, that type of exposure to that music at the far end was Danny Lilker and Tommy. Danny got me into it, and we were going to shows. I met Tommy, and Tommy was like, check this band out. And also Ron Carl, along with Tommy, making tapes and giving them to me. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. They were turning me on to all kinds of stuff as it was happening.
I got to ask this question. I'd be amiss not to. Paul Stone says, when is Straight Ahead reforming already?
Well, there's no reformation scheduled or anything like that. What happened was, like we were talking about earlier with Patrick. Patrick said to me, "Hey, I want to put out like a little appreciation fanzine for Straight Ahead because he loves Straight Ahead and he always wanted to put stuff out." And I said, "What do you have in mind?" And he told me what it was. He wants to interview us and put out some photos and some story. And I said that would be cool, and he did it. And then once it came out, he said, "Hey, you want to make a shirt just since nobody's gotten anything in forever?" So I just was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." You know what I mean? Armand talked to him a little bit too. I think Tommy did. So that sort of like took shape, and it got a really big reaction. So as far as Straight Ahead playing, we don't have any plans, but we like Tommy and I talk. Listen, anything can happen.
And we do it. It's not the question. If we want to do it, can we do it?
It's gotta hit. If it's not good, we wouldn't do it. But we don't have any plans. Just like we don't have any official plans to re-release that stuff, and then maybe later on re-release other stuff we have unrecorded. We have a whole bunch of unrecorded stuff. Wow. So I'm just saying, we've talked about this type of stuff, but nothing's actually set.
So listen, I just want to let you know, speaking on behalf of myself and my management, my Jewish management partner, Howie Abrams, that you need.
We got Tommy. We're gonna make a bundle with these guys.
You got the two Jewish kids that live on 86th Street. The team of Howie and Drew. we'll manage you guys. Dude, the sky's the limit.
The Abram Stone Agency.
Right.
1% for each year, 2%. You got to deal with me now. I want to give props to Howie, because in reality, Howie was a guy I met through like Danny Lilker and the Anthrax guys when I was a little kid. And Howie, just to be straight up, I met this guy. I was like, this guy's cool. And he had a group of his own friends who were all cool. Pete Nussbaum and John. And these guys were all cool. Yep. And we all just like kind of mixed all these different groups, like kind of like the Armand, Pete, Lou, and Das group kind of came in. Like, and I kind of had a connection to them, but I had a connection to both of you guys. So this was just this melting pot. And Howie was like, that I would always say, Howie, what do you think of this? Like if I write a song for or whatever, I'm just trying to make an example. I would say, Howie, what do you think? Because Howie was a guy who I would ask him and listen to what he said back. So a lot of the decisions I would make, or just I value this man's advice. Later on, he went on to work for record companies, and this guy right here is very responsible for bringing hardcore to the world, whether hardcore fans know it or not. Howie's the guy that sort of brought this from here to here and got it worldwide. We did the work, but he did the work behind the scenes and opened that door. So Howie, I love you, buddy.
Love you too. And I appreciate everything you just said. And I think like what Tommy's been saying for 2 hours, what you've said, I think we all had the same goal, right? So you guys as musicians wanted to take it as far as you could. You've taken it very far, Craig. Tommy looking back is like, no, maybe we could have done more and whatever. But for me, as like an industry guy or whatever you want to say it, however you want to call it, I wanted that too. I wanted people to hear your music everywhere in the world and be able to buy it everywhere in the world. And the fact that like you could go to all of these places around the world, Asia, Australia, Europe, South America, and even Tommy, you didn't get to do that, but your music did. And you have people who watch this show every week who are from all over the fucking world, and because of hardcore. And like, there were people who were like trying to stop that, which I thought was ludicrous, you know, that people were like, oh, sell out and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, they're not making this music just for you to hear it, jackass. They're doing it for as many people to hear this as possible. And like, there's people who've made a living out of it and are continuing to make a living out of it without trying to change anything. Sick of it all. Like anybody who ever called Sick of It All a sellout is insane.
If sick of it all was sellouts, it's because Howie's the one that opened the door and brought us to the world.
He's
the
Get him.
guy that brought got us our first record. Before I was even in the band, he got them their first record deal.
But the goal was to as many people as possible. So
That's
people would be like, sick of it all, touring with metal bands. So fucking what? It's their sound. They're not
do it for a living, Howie. You gotta make some income off of it. You know,
like
dynamics change. When you're younger, you're free.
Once you put a record out, there's money involved.
Like something a little bit slightly of a compromise. You want to do this for a living.
Sure.
This is what you love to do. This is your life. You know.
When we came back from break, Tommy said, you know, music isn't just for you, it's for everyone. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. That's what you do.
Like
it
that.
For. It's not yours. It's just you're just a small part of it.
Drew's got his hands up. It's just there's a lot of shots coming, Drew. You got to try and get control of this thing. You're getting battered from all sides.
It's okay. It's okay. I can handle it. A couple quick
for having us on and bringing this. Like we're all part of this thing. This soup.
Yeah,
man. I'm still I got show 400. I got show 400 coming up.
Way too much coffee this morning. I had way too much coffee.
Hey,
and I'm excited to see you guys. This is fun. And Drew, you finally had me back on.
Yeah, you're on fucking probation for fucking 3 years with the fucking
3 years. Drew wouldn't have me on the show. He used to ask me to be on every show, and then he's like, well, I don't know until you get me. And then he just never called me again. He called me for other stuff, but he never called me for this again. And I was like,
you bring problems wherever
I
you
bring
go.
problems. I bring problems. I got issues. You know what I mean? Yo, I'll tell you what though, this whole music thing, we're all kids from like broken homes. That's what hardcore was, and I don't know if it all is, but the early hardcore scene was all street kids, and then like the second generation of hardcore kids after the first wave were guys like us, just other kids from broken homes, from the boroughs. So this whole thing is like this positive thing that kids that are like really messed up, growing up in the 70s or 80s from broken homes, like, my life was basically like messed up. Like my whole life was completely, I had a loving mother and brother, but the situation around that was like, day to day, like barely getting through it. You know what I mean? Like the only safe, to use a common term of today, the only safe space I had was this music.
I think a lot of people have that. That's why you join all walks of life, come there,
Yep.
And, you need something in your life. You're searching for something, This is special as an individual. You're looking for something more in life.
But you got appreciated in the hardcore scene for what you brought and how your heart was and what your intention was. And the rest of the world, you could be a good guy and still get jumped on by 5 guys walking around the corner for the $5 in your pocket back when we were kids. You know what I mean? Get banged up. I came to the hardcore scene. It was these big, scary dudes. They saw me get up on stage and play, or they saw me like mosh to AF for the show. They said, "Hey, kid, what's your name? How you doing?" And they appreciated the fact that I had heart. They cared. They saw my heart. I wore it on my sleeve, and that's the beauty of this music. It's like you're welcome to come in. All you got to do is be genuine.
Let me ask you this. This is a good question that Jasa asked, and each one of us should respond to this one at a time. Did you guys have any idea that the things that were happening early on would be so historic and important this many years later? Tommy?
No idea.
Tommy, you go first.
No, I didn't. I had more fun on stage than most people in the audience, or just as much. So I did it for. I was just a guy in the crowd that got up there and just screamed on the top of his lungs and had an opportunity to let it all out. And that's what it was. That's what like bands are. Like, all like in the beginning, all the other bands support you and all your friends and family, and they're there, and you just, you get up there and express yourself. And it's in that age, it was just pure. You didn't think of anything. I didn't think about no future back then. It was then, right then and there. That was it right there. That was everything. Or any teenager and stuff. That is everything right there. And whatever translate that you interpret it. But but no, I had no idea. I didn't really don't think about the future too much when you're 15, 16 years old. At least I did it.
Scully?
Yeah, I didn't know where this was going. All I knew is I had a thing to do that I just couldn't stop doing. I was so drawn to it. All I wanted to do was play the bass in my house, write songs, and think about the next show I was going to play. I remember being a kid, like when I was like young and like junior high school or high school when I first started getting into hardcore. Everyone would write on the desks. Remember when we were kids, you'd all write on your desk? I used to draw a picture of a band, and they were called Leonard Skinhead. And they would be playing, and the singer was a giant cyclops, and I would draw that on every desk, and people would be like, "What the hell is that?" I'd be like, "That's me, man.
Yeah.
That's me." So like I didn't think it was going to have impact. I mean, I knew it was. I wanted it to have impact to. Okay, so when me and Tommy and Armand and Rob played, we wanted to have impact to Pete, Lou, Big Dave, rest his soul, and like Devil, and like our friends, like Ron Carl. We wanted the guys that we hung out with to like it and sing along. And if we impressed Stigma along the way and Harley, that was great. Wow, these guys came to see us play. Amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Howie, what was your perspective on kind of as a young person being involved with music early on?
I think without being a musician, it was the same as these guys. Like you went to CB's on Sunday. You didn't even know who was playing. You just went because that was your clubhouse. And that's what you did. And you were there to have a good time. And then to think years later, because of this music, that I have friends all over the world, that I helped bands make a living playing hardcore, is crazy to me. Like when we started In Effect, it was just like I was like this bratty ass kid who just like was pissed off and like was going to solve the world's problems with hardcore bands, and that they're going to tour and make records, and we're all going to do this together, and maybe we have a few months to do this. and hope for the best. And, it went on for decades, which is crazy. And, the fact that the four of us are on this forum right now talking about all that, but also still contributing it blows me away.
My take on it is, as a young person, when I fell in with that early SSD Control crew in Boston in 1981 and was kind of right there when it was, when there was 25 kids in the room, I got to say that I do vividly remember thinking that this is important stuff. And even as a young person, I felt like this is magical, this is important, and this is historical. I did feel that way. I remember thinking that there's something very important about this. And
it's that fire. Fire. People see it. Like, thinking back, the fire we all had, people see it. And it was positive. It wasn't people fought at shows and things happened, but we were just trying to express ourselves through music. It's a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. There's no way around it,
Hey, Dejan says it's better than digging holes in a barn upstate.
Yeah, buddy. You wait. We got to frame the doors out, Mike. What's going on here? I just got some photos of Mike Dejan diving in foreign in these tropical places. Pictures that Stigma took. I don't even understand what that means, but I got these pictures of Mike Dejan 1,000 feet in the air, straight as an arrow, diving into rocks. I got to post them on my Instagram. It's unbelievable.
We played with Stigma last night. Dejan was playing with Stigma. We just all played together last night. Yeah,
that's great. I would have went if I wasn't in Boston. I would have went.
I heard that Larry Kelly was there the night before. He said the show was fantastic.
Yeah. I just did 15 show tour with Murphy's Law, and one of my favorite live band ever. Seeing them every night and seeing Jimmy, the way he talks about, hey, this is for all of us. I don't care who you are, what you're into, what you look like. You come here, you have fun, and we're going to accept you as long as you don't do anything stupid. That, to me, I was listening to what he's saying every night. I'm saying, this guy's saying exactly what this music is. 100%. This many years later, he's got the spirit, and he's spelling it out so simply and perfectly. It was beautiful. I love it.
Was it great to be back out on the road with Willie playing with
it was great.
Bill Shepler?
Oh, it was great. And Scott, Willie, me and Willie, we play together. It just falls right into place. It's like when I play with Armand, it just falls into place. Amazing. I had so much fun with these guys. And then, you throw in Phil Caivano and Jimmy and the other guys. We just had so much fun. I hang out with Phil Caivano and we joke around. Then I go hang out with Brandon and Monster and we make fun of Phil. So it's just this whole cycle of stuff. It was so much fun, man. It reminded me of being a kid in the 80s going to shows at CB's. It was so great.
Hey, this is right in line with what we're talking about. Front Puff says, good evening and greetings from Germany. I really love the Straight Ahead album. Because of that shirt, I met some of the best people in foreign places. Much love. 52 and still loving it.
Thank you, buddy.
Good for you, man. Thanks.
Thank you, buddy. Hey, we never talked about boxing and all that. Hey, are we doing that or no?
We kind of did, but
we talked about it with Tommy.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you know Tommy's number one favorite boxer, Tommy Hearns?
Yeah, Hearns the killer. That right hand, nasty.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's
I like fun fighters. Nigel Benn, Holyfield, Tyson.
Hearns was interesting. Hearns was interesting because he was so tall. He was so tall and so thin, but Hearns just had
he was like a
height.
piece of cable. Yeah.
And he had and Hearns had an incredible reach. Hearns had reach
and power for a skinny guy. I mean, he was like a piece of cable. That jab just snapped. I mean, I would say I don't know heavyweight power, but definitely you could fight any man from 147 to 190.
That's scary. Tommy, you can agree with this. When you're in with a tall guy and he can hit and he knows what he's doing and he's not just some tall oofus guy, it's like deadly. The guy throws his jab,
even if you beat him, you're gonna receive punishment. Look at the guys that beat him.
That right hand's gonna hurt you
to get in there, and he got landed a punch. But
because you're gonna have to make some move off that right hand, and it's gonna touch you. I've gotten black eyes from guys that weren't even good because they were that tall and they just threw straight punches.
He basically put Sugar Ray Leonard in retirement. He detached
Yeah.
his records. I mean, he jabbed and cracked them left and right.
Crazy what he did to Duran, but then Duran goes and gives Hagler like
he
a
couldn't
nip and tuck
yeah.
fight.
Yeah, it's
just
weird how
styles.
styles make fights. He just caught him because Duran has a good chin, but he tried it
That-
with Hagler. I think he split Hagler's head open and stopped him in his tracks, which I've never seen anybody do. I think he broke his hand doing it, and they the steam came out of him right away. You hit somebody with everything you got, and they just walk right through you.
Hearns and Hagler. Craziest. That was incredible. That fight.
Tommy, how much you weigh?
255, 260,
How low you think? What's the lowest you think you can get?
225.
Okay,
I already lost
listen.
about 15 pounds already in the last few months.
We're gonna meet at 195. Exhibition as the opening act for the Straight Ahead reunion. You got to get to 195 though.
I don't know why you do that.
I'm gonna write in the contract. You got no choice. I got my guys down there.
I don't know how to do that. I think like 220, 225 might be. I don't think I'll have anything else to do that. See that? But I've been. I sent you that picture. I'm starting to get ripped. I dropped a lot of weight and
look strong.
Yeah. I'm getting in shape.
Shape than me.
Good diet and everything else. It just I got about another 25, 30 pounds to lose for sure.
The horses are out of the corral, Howie.
I see, and we're in the corner. We're going to be the corner men.
Yeah, right. Well, listen, each of you guys. So I have to. So we're all right. So fuck the straight ahead thing. We're going to do the boxing.
The winner gets English Nick. So I'm going to throw the fight.
We're doing a boxing thing now. So each of you guys. So we're going to split the management team. Each of you guys is going to get the Jewish manager. So each of you guys, you get. I guess
So we're getting no money for this. There'll be no money involved.
We will, but you
There's
won't.
expenses. There's expenses. You don't understand how expensive this thing is.
This is dangerous territory, fellas. Thank God,
You know what it costs to put a ring up?
Come on. You know how these guys are so unappreciative, these fighters. They don't understand anything.
They're used to the deli trays backstage and all that.
God.
They don't get it.
Seriousness though, I'm at my age. And
look who just showed up. Look who just showed up.
In my 50s, I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit by this guy. Don Foose.
Don Foose just showed up.
What's up, Don Foose?
Yeah.
I don't think you know Don. Don is our guy in Ohio. He's the Don of Ohio. He's hardcore guy, Don Foose. He fought in the Golden Gloves. He was an amateur fighter. He's a great guy, nutritionist, amazing guy. You'd love him, Tommy. He's the best.
He's a great guy.
Don Foose.
Yeah.
He can't. He came around right around the time you split out, or maybe before that, but that's around when I met him.
Yeah, great. All right, hey, listen. I'm getting speaking of food. I'm getting hungry. So
I got my in-laws here, and everybody's like, "When's this finished? We want to go out to eat."
Don't worry, it'll only be till 5.
You're just sitting there like waiting.
Yeah. Tommy, anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out?
Just you guys, everybody in the hardcore scene that keeps this going and being on here after so long and doing what seems a very short period of time. It's something. It's good to be remembered, and I'm glad you guys are carrying it on, and giving other kids opportunities like me and Craig got, and all the other guys, venues and promotion, and it's a family, and it means a lot, even though I've been away for so long, and I really appreciate it, man. I love you guys, and it's great. I'll probably be seeing you guys. I'm going to go to see Lenny. Lenny's going to Florida. So August 2nd, I really want to make it down and see him.
August 3rd. It's August 3rd.
August 3rd, okay. So I'll come the 3rd. The 2nd, I wouldn't see anybody.
Yeah, come down. Come down, Tommy. It's my show. Come down. We want to see you. All right, good. All right, Tommy. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everybody. Greg, I'll speak to you.
Thank you.
Thomas, I'll talk to you later. Great seeing you, pal.
Yep.
I'll talk to you.
Woo!
Something, I'm going to look back on this and watch it and be like, oh my God, I had too much coffee. I'm all mad. People must think I'm crazy. I'm going nuts. But I'm excited seeing you guys. You got Tommy on. This is fun.
You got 2 hours of Tommy to watch before you even showed up.
Yeah.
See, I was out. I missed all that. But then when I came on, I thought he had technical problems, and I was excited. I was like, let me throw him under the bus so I get off the hook, and maybe I you know what I'm saying?
No,
I got jokes. You're making
your way back.
He had very brief problems, and he came right back.
Yeah, it was great. Well, thanks, Craig.
All right, buddy.
But tell us, when are you going out again? What are you doing?
I got a couple shows in England and then a European run later on. So yeah, I'm gonna be just doing some stuff with the Take overseas.
With the Take?
Yeah, a few shows with the Take overseas. Judge, I don't know. We got to see what happens with their schedule. You know, they have a bass player. It's just that when he can't make it, I fill in. And sick of it all, you know. There's no timeline, but Lou's doing very well, and he responded beautifully to his treatments. Best case scenario, and you know it's a long recovery because he's took a real, you know, it's very debilitating what he went through.
Got to build stamina back up.
He's working at it, so you know, hopefully at some point next year we'll be able to dip our toes back in the water. You know, we're making plans already, setting the table to make sure that it's done right. You know.
Yeah, of course.
Nobody gets no more all access passes for every guy. Nobody drooling backstage and breathing in his face. We got to give the man a little room at this point. He needs a little comfort, is what I'm trying to say.
Are you done?
So everybody that sees this, just back off a little when we start playing. I don't want to get a million phone calls. You got to deal with it yourself a little bit. Not you or you.
Are you working with Marky at all anymore?
No, not at the moment. No, he basically pulled me in for 3 runs, which was 10 shows. I completed it, and you know what the future brings, who knows?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll text you soon, buddy.
All right. Good to talk to you, buddy.
Good to see you, Craig.
Yeah, great. Love you guys. Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye.
A lot of love in the room.
It was great. Craig came in like gangbusters, bro.
No, he said too much coffee and it felt like it.
He came in like
he was. Him and Tommy are like, again, I called them the Mick and Keith of hardcore. They are.
Yeah.
It's like Stigma and Vinny were first, and they're the next ones. You
know, there's no real great reason why they shouldn't do a straight ahead reunion.
I agree. It's like
great reason.
But Craig is right, because it's like it has to be right. Like, because it is an obvious reunion. Like, people want that reunion. So like if you do it and it isn't fucking perfect, you look like a jerk, you know? Yeah. And so you got to do it in such a way that it's as special as it should be. Like, it can't just be like, let's you know, book the Meadows in Brooklyn and like have a straight ahead reunion. Like, it's got to be something different. It's got to be unique. And they have to all 4 guys have to be on the same page.
You know, it's interesting because they got that Rest in Pieces reunion at the Bowl, and it was kind of one and done. And it was a little. It
left you a little unfulfilled, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
And I love them. I love Rest in Pieces. I was so psyched, you know. But like
Crumbsuckers was the same way.
Same way, and there were a few that just were like, it felt like karaoke-ish in a weird way. Like, sort of, it's just sort of happening because it can, and not because it has a similar magic now. You know.
You know what I think it is. You know what I think it is a little bit, just from knowing what I know, being a bit of a musician, is that sometimes these bands pull together to play one show. Yeah. And it's like everything's on the line for one show. And there's sort of, you almost need a warm-up show or two.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be great in that one show.
That's right.
It's impossible.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so you do, like every band, like if they're going out on an arena tour and, you know, whatever band, you're going to play the little show the week before, like just to get your shit together.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like hardcore bands need that too.
Yeah.
Especially if there's expectations.
When did the Crumbsuckers unite? They played the Bowl the same time. Didn't they play the Bowl when the Rest in Pieces that same year? Or was that
I don't know if it was the same year, but it could have been the same year.
Yeah.
But they played, and it just didn't have the magic, you know? And again, like Chris, I love his voice and I like him as a frontman, but he doesn't talk between songs. There's like sort of no, you know, like no real vibe. other than the band playing. And again, I love them, but it just wasn't spectacular.
You know, my takeaway from that was basically that the bands that are in the groove, that are doing it, that are working, they're freaking great. They're out there, they're doing it. The bands that unite to play one show, then to me, they're never as great as I hoped, because it's just because a lot of these bands have guys that don't even play music anymore. They're not involved at all anymore.
Right, exactly.
You know?
It's like the heart's not really in it, and forget like getting 4 or 5 people on the same page.
Yeah.
But
the judge reunion was great. That's because all the guys are still playing music.
And it was so they really disappeared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they just went, like you were convinced they're done. You'll never see them again. Yeah. And they also came from a time when hardcore was big, right? Yeah. So that straight edge moment where it's the Judge and the GB and those bands were a very big deal, Yeah. And like someone here saying like the SOD reunion was great. I didn't think it was great. Like and I love them, but like when they first came out, they were so fucking obnoxious and so divide the troops, like love it or hate it. Sure. And then they just sort of became a band that played shows again. And again, I love them, but I didn't think the reunion was so great.
Yeah. That makes sense. Different people. The Biohazard. That's I mean, from what I've seen, Biohazard reunion's been kind of great. I mean, Irving Plot. I mean, they bring it still. Those guys.
But those European shows that they're doing and the whole thing, they look exactly like they used to. It's bizarre.
They're
almost like they changed.
They're operating on a very high level.
Very high level. Really true. And again, like whatever you think of the new stuff, which I happen to think is quite good, it's like they're not trying to reinvent anything. They're just doing exactly what they did. They're making a 2025 version of it, and that's what it is.
100%.
And Lenny's right. Reunions are great until they're not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what happens with reunions a lot of times, right? A band will do it. It's great. And then it just sort of starts slipping down the scale. And then it's like, Is that right? Yeah. You got the Casablanca record shirt on?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's,
home of Donna Summer.
And Kiss. So, it's like I've been on a Kiss thing lately because, and I'm a huge fan anyway, but, I go for those YouTube 75, 76 shows and I'm watching that and just remembering just how unbelievably incredible they were and why they got that big, Yeah.
Hey, Lou, Astoria Lou asked, we where is it? Hold on. You forgot to mention the new fanzine and release of the shirts. No, we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about it. I held up the zines. I have both versions. And I have the shirt. I thought about wearing it today, but I thought that may not be so great. But yes, John, I love Kiss. And, basically Kiss for me, it's so funny because Kiss was the ultimate larger than life rock star thing. Yeah. And then I somehow got into hardcore was the antithesis of that, the most non-rock star thing. And, I almost had to have one to appreciate the other,
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, there you go. We got to do this again sometime.
Yeah, I will come up with another one, but I thought Tommy was a good one. Drew was good. Drew sometimes is like, hey, who should we get? And maybe there's another co-host situation or whatever. I was like, man, Tommy Carroll's not doing anything. You're not seeing him all over the place. We should do that.
Yeah, no, Tommy was great.
Getting Craig on there was fucking great.
Craig was great. Yeah, and interestingly enough, the next show I'm doing a week is being co-hosted. Is Joel. Joel's co-hosting the Deicide show with me. So
nice.
I like having co-hosts, every now and then. So it's good. And
It's
you
fun.
know, the one guy we always talk about is we got to get Monty Connor.
And I'm still gonna get him. We're having dinner with him soon with the wives, and we're gonna. He's such a weirdo with it too. And it's like I had him as a guest host when I used to do Merciless. Like Bill was on tour.
Yeah.
And I was like, come co-host with me and blah blah blah. And it was great, and the rapport was great, and like whatever. And he was just talking and Roadrunner history, and it's like just
It's
come
like
on.
it reminds me of Louis Vito from Carnivore, and you know, nobody wants to hear me talk. I don't have anything to say. Nobody cares. I'm not good. He comes on, and it was
Right.
stellar. It was
Right.
stellar.
And you're just like, no, I want to hear everything you have to say.
I mean, that's what makes it special. Is that you don't do it often. Anyway,
That's
let's go get something to eat.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Howie. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, and it was a really, really fun show.
And at the very least, you know, when Heavy Healing gets up and running, you'll come on. We'll do a whole show. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll bring some of the people that we interviewed because Jimmy and Vinny are on it together. I interviewed them together. You know, things like Alago. There's a bunch of people that are still alive that we interviewed that I think would be great to talk about it.
Cool. All right, I'll talk to you soon, Howie. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
What's up? Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, huh? Good one. Thank you. It was a great show. Great show. Enjoyed. I like having co-hosts on, and it was good. It was good. Good show. And we'll be back in a week, you know, and then is it the week after that? Oh, a couple days after that is Demi, and then is Crazy Eddie's last show. So we ain't going nowhere. Paul Stone, thank you. Did you see Paul Stone hooked it up with Paul Stone hooked it up. Paul, did you hook me up with Rat? Or was that Mark Freebase? But thanks. Anybody have any ideas? You let me know. And John Angeli is the one who hooked me up with Bobby Gustafson. So, and the 400 shows coming up. Ooh. So Brendan SFA doesn't want to do the show. I've asked him many times through the years, just doesn't want to do it. So some people just do not want to do it. It's not for everyone. Sometimes it takes years to get people to do it. So, you know, that's what's up. Anyway, great show today. Thank you so much, everyone. So glad we have this. I'm so glad we have this time together. Thanks a lot. I'll see you soon. Until next time, do good things and good things.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes.